if you get on an airplane, you're being exposed to ionizing radiation. I took my Geiger counter on a flight, and I was like panicking. I had to shut it off because it was just like beeping, like beep, 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 beep. It sounded like a bomb was going off, and I was like trying to figure out how to mute it really quick.
Oh my God.
I'm like sitting on my seat, and everyone around me.
Is that bad?
It's that bad, yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Trash Taste Podcast. I'm your boy Joey, and I'm with the boys as per usual, and I'm with a special guest. Introduce yourself.
I'm William Osmond. I'm from the Garbage Flavor podcast.
We have to start copyright claiming them.
Yeah,
Can we DMCA that?
We've done 2 of those now.
Have you actually?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you were the second one. So we did the first one, we did it. There's someone commented about how we were performing much worse than you guys.
Okay.
We started watching you guys like the same time, you and Trash Taste.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just funny. I feel like it was really funny to get compared because it was not like, you know when your parents get mad at you?
Yeah.
Versus when your parents get disappointed in you?
Yeah.
It felt like disappointment.
Why can't you be like your older brother? He's doing so well in
And
school.
so we became our older brother first.
Well, actually, what I found funny was that you actually went on and talked about anime on your podcast,
Right.
which
You
is
guys don't do that
which
here.
is the
No,
one
we
thing
don't do that.
We didn't do on our podcast. So you guys are kind of like filling the gap of what we didn't do.
You're surpassing the older brother at this point.
Yes.
I gotta say, out of all the people on YouTube, the person I get, people comment the most, like, you look like a budget William Osmond. People always,
What?
Yeah, people always say
Why
that.
budget?
I don't know, maybe they're evil British twin or something. I don't know.
that's
Long
more fair
lost.
than
That
budget.
sounds more exciting, right?
To be fair, Connor's beard isn't as clean as yours.
Yeah, your beard's so clean.
Yeah.
I don't have it. I don't know how.
That's insane.
I don't shave
That's
it
why
or
I'm the
anything. I just
budget.
trim it every week, maybe. I trim
yeah,
it.
same.
Number one.
I've let mine go a little bit right now.
If I shave, it just tears me up.
Yeah.
So I don't. I just trim.
Damn, your beard's so good. That's why I'm the budget.
How come you guys don't talk about anime anymore?
Well,
There's only so much you can talk about, or do you just start going down a rabbit hole of
like,
things that
two of
YouTube
us-
won't let you monetize?
Yeah, 2 of us are like, I guess, anime YouTubers. Well, Joey's an ex-anime YouTuber at this point. And
no, I still watch it.
yeah, you still watch it.
I still watch it. I just don't talk about
You
it
know what?
anymore.
You know what's funny? Joey now watches it as a hobby.
Yeah.
You've gone back to watching it.
I've actually gone back to watching it as a hobby.
As opposed to a job.
As opposed to, because it was a job for me for the longest time, and then after a while I'm just like, I kind of got bored of talking about anime in video form, but I still enjoy the medium. So it's like, but see, here's the YouTuber dilemma, is that if you don't make a video on it, then you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, obviously my audience clowns on me for that, which is, you know, understandable. The people have a field day with it. But yeah, I don't know. I guess like, I mean, look, because the thing is, we've always called ourselves Trash Taste from the beginning, right? And we always called ourselves as an anime podcast. We've sold it as an anime podcast. But I don't think the intention was to talk about anime the entire time.
Yeah,
Right.
I never wanted to talk about it.
Yeah,
It's just in general, you guys have.
It's like every now and then we'll we'll throw it in as a topic,
Right.
Yeah.
right? But it's not like the main focus.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because even though it's like an ongoing joke within our own fan base and our own podcast that we don't talk about anime, I think it's actually just really helped with our branding. And I definitely noticed this when I went to LA and we met, you know, a bunch of creators, including you. And pretty much everyone we met was just like, oh,
That's the link.
you're the anime guys. And you're like,
Oh no!
Yeah, and so like every guest we had in LA was just like, yes, I don't really like watch a lot of animes, and we have to somehow talk about it for 2 hours. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, we don't. I think because like the only real like anime episode we had was probably with like ProZD.
yeah, exactly.
But then other than that, we maybe mentioned it for like 5 minutes at a time. But do you want to talk about anime?
I literally could not care less.
Wait, about anime or about talking about anime?
Okay,
Are you an anime fan, William?
kind of.
What does that mean?
You stepped into the marsh.
that was such
So,
like a closet
anime
weeb kind of like thing.
Most anime is like garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably why it's like.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do people actually get mad if you say anime is garbage?
No, we say it all the time. It's literally
What
our
do you mean by
branding.
garbage?
I've ever heard my phone make a sound like that. And it will never again.
Define.
so garbage.
Why is it garbage?
Why is it garbage flavor?
Tell me.
It a lot of times is very cheap.
What do you mean by that?
Wait, cheap as in like
Like they crank it out as quickly as possible, and so everything is like they're sort of cherry picking the most successful tropes and strategies. Like instead of making a really well fleshed out story, it's just here's like dangling keys in front of a baby, like loud noise.
I would argue
Stuff
American
that's way
cartoons are also like that.
I'm not saying this is not about American cartoons.
You seen Big Mouth on Netflix? That shit is ugly.
I think I've seen clips. I don't watch any American cartoons. There's something about anime though that like I think what I do like about it is there's sort of this suspension of the real world where it's the language barrier makes it feel like something that's very different from what you're regularly consuming.
I agree.
In America.
Definitely.
Well, I think one of the big issues with anime is you're right. A lot of it is the same copy paste kind of storylines, character tropes, and everything. But when you find that really, really fucking special and good anime, it's like, to me, the reason I'm an anime fan is because it really is able to convey these kinds of stories that you don't really find in other mediums, or it's like really, really hard.
Right.
And I think right now we're at a point where there's so many anime being made that you're right, 90% of it is shit. But there are more and more like really, really fucking great and amazing shows that you can find on a regular basis, man. This is the most positive I've ever talked about anime on this podcast.
I just realized, well, we never introduced William.
It's better that way.
Really? You don't want to be
Because
introduced?
it means they should know who I am.
Oh, true.
okay.
True. Is there any anime you do like then?
Yeah. What are your favorites?
I
List off
really
some
like
ones you
Fullmetal
like.
Alchemist.
My favorite anime.
I think that it's like if I was to try
Brotherhood
to
or
get
normal?
anybody a Brotherhood,
Okay,
not the first one.
Yeah.
If I had to get anyone, or if I had to convince somebody to watch something, that's probably what I would try to convince them to watch.
Yeah,
Because it's very.
he hasn't watched this.
Yeah, it's like it feels like a very, I don't know. It's just like closer to kind of Western media.
In a sense, yeah.
I think in a lot of ways
What's
it is.
some other shows you like? Just list off some that you've watched and enjoyed.
I watched part of Attack on Titan. It just sort of kind of, I don't know. I don't really like political stuff.
You don't like political
It
stuff?
just turns into like a weird like governmental.
Yeah, season 2. Yeah.
Too real.
It's just like I want to watch something explode.
Fantasy? Yeah.
Like, you just want to like turn your brain off.
Yeah,
Type of
yeah.
show, right? Yeah, I get you.
I like Gundam.
You like Gundam?
You like Gundam?
Oh,
Which
shit.
Which Gundam?
That's a whole rabbit hole. Which Gundam?
Which Gundam? OG?
Like,
I've watched part of the OG. The old stuff can be kind of slow compared to like modern. Feels like.
yeah. I mean, there's like some of the more mainstream stuff, like, you know, Gundam Wing, Gundam Seed,
Zero,
Gundam 00, Gundam
Iron-Blooded Orphans was really
Iron-Blooded
good.
Orphans.
That
yeah.
one, I honestly can't remember the names of any of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
It's just Gundam. It's just a lot
They
of
suck at
Gundams.
naming them in a way that would make it intuitive to
very
figure out which one came when.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason with Gundam is so confusing is that there's just so many of them. So it's kind of like Fate. I don't mean to bring up Fate, but it's kind of like that, where there's just so much of something that you don't even know kind of like
It's overwhelming.
where to begin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the names don't really help you figure out which one comes
Well,
when.
because it's not numerical.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe they could have something like the resurrection, and then not the death.
Die.
And then I'm like, okay, there's some
Death Erection.
Yeah, death
Resurrection.
burial. Okay, so that comes before resurrection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking for just a timeline. I was
Yeah.
like, just give me a timeline of like when each of them came out, because none of them even like time wise in their universe, or like the branches universe, like
Yeah.
the sort of like the side.
Right.
Well,
The worst is when the release date doesn't match up to the
my
canonical
God.
story
Yeah.
order. So you're like, oh, this one came out. No, okay, this was the last one.
It's like they're not even.
As a
timed.
Monogatari fan, I feel called out.
It's just like, why did you guys choose to adapt this completely out of order?
Well,
Just-
the thing about Gundam is that I guess it's like the closest thing anime has to kind of like the MCU, where there is like a timeline,
Yeah.
but every story is basically self-contained.
Yeah.
But you know, if you have followed Gundam from its lineage back right at the beginning, then there is characters that appear in like other things. It's like little Easter
The
eggs
whole
and stuff
political
like
thing,
that.
and they seem to
Yeah.
almost like take like an old character and kind of bring them back as like
Yeah.
the new, like the grandchild kind of thing.
which
It's
is-
just
which
like-
is
I am surprised that you like Gundam, considering that you were just saying you don't like political stuff.
I don't like that part of Gundam.
you're like,
So basically,
politics out of my mouth.
So
that's like saying like I really like Dune, minus the political stuff.
So you get partway into Gundam, and then I get bored and stop watching it.
I don't know if I can say that you're a fan of
I
Gundam.
just wish that Formula One was all like pit stops. Like, what's with the racing?
Wait, okay, then what about so you obviously just
So
like
do you
the
just
big
like
robots
giant
fighting.
robots?
Yeah.
Have you watched like Gurren Lagann?
I think so.
That's basically
Show
Gundam
me
minus
a
the
picture.
police.
Show me the cover photo of the.
My drill will pierce the heavens. You know that one?
Maybe?
Yeah, you've probably seen it before.
I'm telling you, I don't watch it to remember it.
It's funny because you say you don't like political stuff, but you like giant robots, and I'm just like 90% of all giant robot shows are political shows.
Okay. You need like a drop of politics to justify the robot fighting. But if there's an episode where there's no robot fighting and it's just politics, I'm out. That's filler to me.
Did you like watch Code Geass? Do you remember Code Geass? Did you like that?
I don't remember, but I think I watched all of it, which means
There's politics in
There's a lot of politics in that.
But there was also
There's
well
a lot.
balanced.
There was also giant robots in there.
Exactly.
That's true. That's true.
Any other shows?
Evangelion.
You like Evangelion?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I went through the guys, the directors. I'm not going to say
Hideaki
anything.
Anno.
Hideaki,
It's actually a good way to find stuff.
Yeah.
Is go through find something you like, and then go to their Wikipedia and just dig through the entire catalog. I found a bunch of weird stuff.
You do something that 99% of anime fans don't do.
Exactly.
You should 100% do that. Like go dig through the director or any literally anybody that works on these shows, because it seems like they all have the same aspiration. So if they directed or if they did this or that, they all have different things they've worked on that they kind of contributed to.
I mean, I don't understand why more anime fans do this, because this is a normal practice in say the movie industry or
I would argue that they do it for film directors. If you watch a Hosoda Mamoru movie or a Shinkai Makoto movie, then you're just like, oh, I want to see what other movies they made. But I feel they don't really do that when it comes to TV animations.
I guess that makes sense because TV series a lot of the times is adapting something new, but a lot of directors in anime I know have such a unique style, and I guess some of the biggest names have the most unique style, like Masaki Yuasa. You might not know his names, but if you've seen his work, you know when you see one of his works. If you watch something like Ping Pong the Animation or Devilman Crybaby or something like that. But same with Hideaki Anno as well. He's such a big name in the anime industry.
So from Evangelion, I got to something called The Secret of Blue Water.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're going way back. What the hell?
That's a deep cut.
Chelsea's looking at me right now. So we found a website, because you some of this stuff you literally can't watch anywhere.
Yeah.
You can't pay for it. You can't stream.
Well, Evangelion, you couldn't watch it for 20 years legally.
Yeah. It's free money. What are they doing?
I don't know.
It only took Netflix to acquire the rights to Evangelion before you could stream.
God knows how much money they paid for that.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
They basically you can watching their other work. It's funny that you can kind of see them as an artist, because they kind of get stuck on the same idea.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so there was a lot of very sort of linear, very parallel storylines in Secret of Blue Water and Evangelion of this. It's funny to see that they're almost like they've been working towards this one story across multiple completely separate works.
Exactly.
What's the guy who made Bell called? He made
Mamoru Hosoda.
He made the same movie over and over.
That's what it feels like.
He did the Digimon movie and was just like, I'm gonna make Summer Wars, which is just the Digimon movie minus the Digimon.
Again and
they're
again.
plagiarizing themselves.
You can't. It's not copying if you copy yourself. Well, it's just I don't know. It's
there's also Makoto Shinkai now, who I think after doing Your Name,
was just like Weather Porn, the movie. Let's do it again.
He's got rad wimps on speed dial. It's yo, bro, you know I'm gonna need you for the next soundtrack, bro.
Yeah.
But
the one I found that I was the happiest to find, I think the best one was, we talked about a little bit on our podcast, it's called Memories.
Oh my god, Ultima Katsura.
Oh my god.
That is brilliant.
It is so good.
It's so good.
The just the animation alone is I have never seen anything like that.
Magnetic Rose is oh my god. I'm so glad. You're the only one I know who's seen it. Yeah, I know.
I've never heard it.
Even I haven't seen it.
I wish they made shit like that stuff.
Yeah.
It makes me sad that is not something anybody wants to put money in.
It is basically Akira in space.
Yes.
It's fucking insane. It's so good.
You're an anime fan.
You are an anime fan.
You're an anime
You're not
fan.
kind of an anime fan. You are an anime fan.
You're talking about shows even I haven't seen now.
Maybe I'm just talking shit about more modern stuff.
Are you going down the Martin Scorsese?
Yeah.
This modern shit is anime. What I used to watch was anime.
My trash is bad.
Let me tell you about anime.
Well, I think probably one of the biggest reasons why you don't enjoy modern anime is it seems like you enjoy sci-fi, giant robots, two genres that really are not thriving in the modern scene. And I don't know why. Is sci-fi just like, has it just gone downhill in general? Because
I think it's just been completely overridden right now by the fantasy genre. And then within the fantasy genre, mostly the isekai genre.
I feel like every decade or two, it always flip-flops between whether fantasy or like space and futuristic stuff.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right. And right now we're in like a giant D&D boom, and fantasy just seems to be like the thing right now. And I'm sure in future it'll swap back to space in like 10 or 20 years.
Sure.
This is like a scope creep. Everyone's trying to like one up each other.
Yeah.
Our robot's bigger. Our robot's bigger. What do they call it? The power creep.
But
power
it's like,
creep. But it's like in the whole genre itself.
Yeah.
It's like each show has to outdo the other show.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we had like Gurren Lagann, which was literally, small spoiler alert, although it doesn't really, change the enjoyment of the show. When they literally are fucking using galaxies as shurikens, I'm like, where, there's nowhere to go.
They're standing on galaxies to fight.
There's nowhere to fucking go from here. And especially like you look at something like Dragon Ball Super, and they're like, okay, Goku's the most powerful being in the universe. Where can we go from here?
He's the most powerful being in the multiverse.
Okay, but where can we go from here? Well, I don't know now. I don't know. There's literally no way you can take that. But I guess one of the big things that I've missed is a lot of just old school sci-fi shows, because I feel like a lot of I feel like those are some of my favorite types of stories, but it's so rare nowadays, not even in anime, just to find like a good sci-fi story, which is why I've really fucking enjoyed Dune.
I was about to say they've kind of had to resort to going back to older media and older franchises and kind of just like reimagining it for the modern audience. And again, I think that's why like Dune was so good, is because like that's like a story that was probably quite, abundant when it was first around, like in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. But like, now it's like, other than maybe like Star Wars, like I don't count the three new Star Wars trilogies. Other than that, like I can't really think of like a good sci-fi show that has come out recently.
I think it's a lot of work to come up with like a whole everything, and then even more work to try to tell a cohesive narrative.
Well, because fantasy, you can just be like, it's a fantasy world.
Right.
There's a guy selling bread and a guy selling apples, and everything's made out of
You don't have to think about the logic of the world as much.
You're like, it's how it used to be. You can like, it's a lot easier.
Is there a chart of like time versus sort of sexualization of anime?
That's a great
I genuinely
question.
think that like that's probably one of the tropes that kind of just helps, like one of the cheap shots you can take to help retain people.
I just don't enjoy it at all in shows. I like hentai. I'll watch hentai if I want.
Well,
it's separate.
But you know what's funny? Actually, the guy who invented the ecchi genre in manga and anime.
Say the guy who invented anime.
No. the guy. Well, basically, the guy who invented like the kind of perversion in anime is the same guy who invented mecha. So they kind of go hand in hand.
I actually believe Hideaki Anno helped popularize the anime boob bounce. It was literally called like the Gainax jiggle or some the Gainax bounce for a while. Because I think it was like one of his earlier works. What's his other mecha work that he's done? Not that's before Evangelion. Diebuster. I believe that had like a famous shot with like a boob jiggle in it. Yeah, he directed that as well.
It's like 120 frames per second boob jiggle. And just like everyone's like, all right, this is the future of animation, ladies and gentlemen.
You've probably seen the High School of the Dead one as well. So she shoots a gun and it like
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, and it goes through the boob.
Like her boobs are like jiggling and the bullet goes between.
Like a GIF or something.
It's a very famous GIF.
Okay,
it's stupid. It's so dumb. But when it's like that, it's like, okay, now it's so over the top where it's like, okay,
it's entertaining again.
In the middle ground where you're like, why did you put this in the show? Like Fire Force, like that just had sexualization in it for no fucking reason.
I mean, there's a lot of shows that are like that where it's like, I thought I would enjoy the show because it kind of dealt in genres that I thought I would enjoy, and then it would just get side shafted by this random ecchi shot. And I'm just like,
it feels like immature. It feels like
and I'm like, you didn't need that. You didn't need that to maintain my attention for this show. And it just feels like a cheap shot.
On Netflix right now in the States, they're like, it's like a mech thing, but there's like a guy and a girl in the mech.
Right.
What is that?
Darling in the Franxx.
Oh my God.
It's like, how can you take your story seriously when that just happens, right?
Yeah.
It's like doing a TED talk and whipping your dick out halfway through. It's like no one's going to take you seriously for the rest of the talk.
Okay, I would argue that no one should take Darling in the Franxx seriously.
No one took it seriously.
Yeah.
Not even the creators of the show took that seriously.
It's the moaning though. It's the moaning when they like lock in, like.
It's like I'm reloading my girl.
I remember when I first watched Darling in the Franxx and they revealed like the piloting system in like episode 2 or 3, and I just fucking burst out laughing. I'm like, no, they did not do this.
They didn't have to though. Like, why?
Okay, to be fair, that's Trigger, and they're like, they're just
Trigger never take themselves seriously.
It's weird talking to someone who obviously has consumed like a lot of old anime versus like I've seen like the progression of, I guess, the fan service and sexualization, just kind of like having like going from there to there.
Yeah,
because. It's Darling in the Franxx was made by Studio Trigger, and after Kill la Kill, have you seen or heard of Kill la Kill?
I think so. Is that the talking shirt?
The one with the talking clothes and everything like that.
With the less clothes.
Yeah, you got it.
I felt like after they made that Darling in the Franxx just felt like a step down in terms of the fan service.
Chilled out.
Yeah.
Which is
weird to say that it kind of like, I guess, desensitized a lot of anime fans because
yet isn't it weird that we are openly criticizing Darling in the Franxx for being sexual, but then when you go over to Kill la Kill, it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
It depends on the show. Like Kill la Kill never was meant to be serious, and neither was Darling in the Franxx. So there's other shows where you're trying to get me invested in this world and characters in a very serious way, and trying to get me to feel like oh, I'm so sympathetic toward that character, and then they start groping each other, and then you're like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck was that?
Kill la Kill was like, it made a little bit more sense.
It did.
Did you ever watch Seven Deadly Sins?
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
That's the worst offender. That's the worst one.
It's so unnecessary.
Yes, he'll just start groping the woman randomly.
That's just his personality trait.
And it's like, oh, so this guy's he just molests people.
He's just a pervert.
Yeah, and that's like his thing. And and we're like, that's so funny and quirky. It's like, no, I hate this guy.
Right. Does it, like, how many people? Actually, I don't want to.
We've asked that question many times. Don't worry.
We've wondered who the fuck watches that character and likes them, because people like that character.
Yeah, because like
there are Meliodas stands out there.
I mean, it was a very popular anime and manga. I don't know how many people still stand for it.
It fell off so hard.
Yeah,
really.
It was kind of like Fairy Tail, or that kind of genre of show where it kind of just like it had its fan base and then it kind of fell off when everyone started clowning on it.
Is that in the manga as well? That version?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so it's not just the show. It is.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why would they even add that? That'd be even more. That'd be so bizarre.
I don't
if
know.
They just were like,
figure
let's stick it in.
It's like, he's kind of boring. Let's just make him kind of a perv.
I think that they would add it in if they weren't willing to take it out.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the time it's one, it's not seen as weird to have that in,
right?
And two, I think taking it out would be just offensive, right, to the author in a way. It's like, how could you ruin his vision?
Also, I think the reason why
I know.
I also just think like the reason why in general I don't think we'll ever see the disappearance, I guess, of that kind of like perversion anime is because horny 14, 15-year-old boys are gonna just keep coming.
Yeah, I mean,
they keep spawning.
They just come over.
They just come over and over.
They just keep coming.
They just keep coming. They keep spawning, and there's always going to be an audience for that kind of shit.
In Japan, there won't be. I mean, the population is shrinking, so
that's
true.
Eventually,
that's true.
They're gonna have to ban it.
Yeah, they're gonna have to sort it out.
Too attracted to anime. Everything else is.
I mean, come on. Like, I remember when I was a teenager and I first saw an anime have kind of like this kind of fan service in it, and
bro, when I was 14, I thought Talovera was like the greatest thing ever created.
Yeah, I know, right?
And I'm just like, that's just like tits and ass galore.
It makes sense, and you're like, as a fellow 14-year-old, I understand this. But then you're like, there's a 40-year-old man thinking about this shit and making it. He's like,
that's true.
What should I make for the kids? A bit of perversion never hurt anyone.
It's like, I like this when I was 14. I'm sure the 14-year-olds now would enjoy it.
Like, I even as like 20 years old, 19, I was like, I'd rather just watch porn.
I mean, that was the age where you're just like, you discover that hentai and Pornhub exists. So you're just like, why am I watching?
That was the moment. That was the moment
you at 19 and 20. What?
That was the moment your brain switches and you're just like, I need more.
Separation of church and state.
A boob jiggle will not suffice for me.
I'm trying to think of the first anime I ever watched. Like, I feel like I have, like, does Pokemon count?
Yeah.
But is that, I mean, it's kind of like,
that's Japanese.
I mean, that was like my first one.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was even anime. I thought it was
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a lot of our first anime. It was either that or like Dragon Ball Z, which was a lot of people's first anime, especially if you grew up in the West.
Naruto.
You watched Death Note?
I started watching it.
You didn't like it?
Can I say it's crap or people get mad at me?
It's not.
You've seen
Explain
the subreddit,
yourself.
The subreddit, I am very smart.
Okay.
That's what it felt like.
No.
Yeah. It was like, no, I'm going to do this.
I thought it was really good.
I
I mean, the consensus is that it's pretty good.
I thought it was quite intelligent, to be honest.
I got through, I don't know, maybe like 6 episodes or something. And it just felt like
trying
Wait,
to.
how old were you when you found it? I feel like
a couple years ago.
Because I feel like if you're under 21, for some reason, it appeals to that side of your brain.
I think that's the kind of people
I want
that
to be the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why I was in Shonen Jump, right?
Yeah, right.
Just for that demographic.
Like 17-year-old me ate that shit up. Like I was like, I want to be liked so bad. I want to be this guy so bad. He gets death notes.
Dude, he was the original Giga Chad.
What? Bro, he got like the girls and the abilities,
Yeah,
and
man.
he was a Chad, and his dad loved him. Whoa, that's the insane.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking.
I tried.
Yeah, I'm just like thinking, like looking at Light now through modern eyes. I'm like, damn, Light was a fucking toxic as fuck person,
he
man.
He was science anime. You watch Dr. Stone?
No, I saw, oh God, what's the time travel one?
Steins Gate.
Steins Gate.
I like that a lot.
Steins Gate's great.
That's one of the like classics.
I started watching it years ago. I think I got like 1 episode in because I feel like every one of these websites does a bad job like conveying what it is. It's hard to find reviews.
Honestly,
for if I'm gonna like it.
that's like one of those shows where I think it's just best to just click episode 1.
Going
and do
blind.
it.
I stopped watching it though years ago. So I got episode 1.
To be fair,
I
the
thought it was too
first-
stupid or slow or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like there's not a trustworthy source for me of knowing if I'm gonna like something.
To be fair, the first 10,
To
to be fair, the first 10 episodes are quite slow, but I think it's used to just build up enough information and to get you established enough where the second half comes around and you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's also great in English. The English version is amazing.
I just watch everything.
Have
you watched Psycho Pass?
No.
Love
Okay,
that.
I
That's
think
also
like
great.
just judging from what you've been saying and judging from
Sounds
this
right up
kind
my
of shows you like, you love Psycho Pass because it is a sci-fi. Doesn't have giant robots in it, unfortunately.
Sell the viewers on it. Like pitch it to them. I think we've done this before, but do it again.
Yeah, I
Do the thing.
Do the thing. Do the thing.
Do the thing.
do the thing. I mean, it's a sci-fi dystopian world that is very reminiscent of a lot of classic sci-fi stories. The entire world is based on a system where you control people based on an emotional score. And there are points where if you go beyond an emotional score, the system deems you as a threat to society, so they will automatically lock you up. Or if you get too dangerous, there's a gun that will shoot you and you will literally explode, right?
If you
will
get, like,
literally
too depressed.
Yeah, if you literally you will literally disintegrate. And what makes it so interesting... Exactly.
He's interested.
And what makes it so interesting is, they set up this world and the main villain is basically someone who is so insane that he breaks the system by being on a level of insane that he's almost seen as in the system's eyes as the perfect human being. So that's kind of like that's kind of the main story of Psycho Pass.
You'd like it a lot.
It's really
interesting.
really, really interesting, and it delves into some really interesting ideas about if this society really existed, what would happen to the people in it, how would they act, how would they change, and how could you break a system like this?
Yeah, it tackles moral issues, I think, really, really well, to the point where it's like it doesn't seem tropey in any way. Like it actually gets you being like, oh shit, if this was, if I was put in a situation like this, what would I do?
I was gonna say it's like situation based. Like, here is a problem, and then someone has to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so judging from that, you'd really, really enjoy that because I can't think of like another modern sci-fi show that's hooked me as much as Psycho Pass has. It's
What about Bokurano? Have you seen Bokurano?
Oh, yeah, you'd like that. I love that one too.
That's Mecha.
I always recommend that one.
That's Mecha that doesn't have a whole lot of politics to it.
Okay.
And it's also psychological, so you might like that one as well. We've talked about that a few times.
It's really like fucked up.
This is just what anime would William Osmond like?
I'm okay with fucked up. I sat through Darling in the Franxx and I hated it.
That's a different kind of fucked up.
I hated it the whole time.
That's a different kind of fucked up. That's
not fucked up. That's just what the fuck.
Yeah. That's just Trigger going, how can we make everything a sexual innuendo? Yeah. Okay, let's just make an entire show. And just make it like one big sex joke.
What happened to like steering wheels and like joysticks? That's all. I want my robots to have hand control.
When are you going to make a robot that's controlled by
a human?
That's the next video, right?
I don't know what you're doing tomorrow.
Oh my god!
Actually, on that, we should probably explain what William does. What do you do on your YouTube channel?
How would you describe it?
Because you make such bizarre things. When a random person asks you or a family member who you don't really know.
I honestly, genuinely don't know how to explain it because I used to say like science, but we're doing a video about oyster farming.
Right.
You are? There's science involved.
Yeah, but it's like not. It's the angle isn't. I don't know. It's
engineering?
No.
Engineering doesn't work.
The guy who generally does engineering, which apparently you guys are also.
These two.
I have a degree in mechanical engineering.
And you do YouTube?
And
are your parents happy?
I got the degree. So they were like, all right, if you fuck up, you got the degree.
They didn't care that you're throwing it in the trash right now.
I paid for it. They didn't pay for it.
They have no say there.
They were kind of like, just because I was doing YouTube while I was in university.
That's definitely the 100% the right way to do it.
And then I kind of told them, I was like, hey, I think I'm not going to do engineering. I'm going to try this YouTube thing out. And they were like, are you going to finish the degree? I was like, yeah. And they were like, all right, do whatever you want.
Yeah. I finished the degree, got a job, and then after about 3.5 years of doing the job, I was like, I kind of hate this right now. Kind of want to just do YouTube.
What's your background?
Same. Mechanical.
So you got a mechanical
engineering major and electrical minor.
Oh, okay. So we both did mechanical.
Yeah.
I hated mechanical.
I mean, I feel like people don't really know what engineering is when they go into it. And they see someone like me who like I like building stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, engineering is like building stuff. And then you go to school and it's like not building stuff.
Because I think one time we spoke about on the podcast how we didn't really use our degrees, but then it's kind of like it's kind of hard to really take that as like a whole, because obviously we're a very isolated group of people who didn't use their degree, saying it's useless, and it's really easy to say that.
I think it's complicated because it's like it's not useless, but okay. So, who did you go to? What did you do?
I did. What did I do?
I'm like, you didn't do.
No, I did IT, like design computing.
So it's like even if you're not doing IT work, you probably have done stuff in regards to YouTube that involves some of the IT.
I mean, I learned how to video edit through my degree.
Yeah.
And like audio engineering and stuff like that.
Right. So you learn skills outside of actually getting a job as an engineer. Because like if you get an engineering degree, you're not ready to go work as an engineer. Like you have to go somewhere and you're going to cost that company money because that's like this useless little blob. And they try to form you into like actually doing real constructive work.
Yeah.
And so going to school is just kind of like, teaching you some maths and then some like just, I don't know, maybe work ethic or problem solving skills.
I did find like the mindset that it taught was very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I think like one of the reasons engineering is such a good course, just in general, is the problem solving aspect. Yeah. I mean, that's an aspect everyone will use in their lives, and it's about understanding a system and how to kind of like find your way around the system. I mean, regardless, I do use my degree in my job because that's basically YouTube in a nutshell. You know, trying to figure out the algorithm and how to like make content that appeals to an algorithm. That's a problem. That's a problem solving.
All problem solving.
Yeah, and there's some people who get way more into the analytical side of YouTube. I noticed I've talked to a lot of science YouTubers, and you guys are constantly in the analytics tabs.
There's a level that's like good and a level that's bad.
Yeah,
and I think some of the science YouTubers go way too far to the point where they start kind of not quite understanding, like it's a little bit too robotic, and kind of blame the algorithm as opposed to maybe have a more artistic or like empathetic approach of like, why would somebody be emotionally invested whenever I'm doing?
Right.
And it's just numbers, and it's like, well, that's probably not a good road to go down.
Yeah. I don't look at it at all because it just stresses me out.
I have stopped looking at it.
I don't look at it. I don't really read comments either. I read like the top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I try to check mine about a week after the upload because at least at that point, like the honeymoon period is gone, and I could, as like
You can look at it rationally.
Yeah,
right?
I can as rationally
Right.
look at this as possible.
Yeah.
Like that's a problem-solving perspective, right? Like
exactly.
It's not going to help to read a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
So I'm going to figure out how can I use people's feedback as constructively as possible.
Exactly.
Did you enjoy doing your engineering degree while you were there, or?
I did. I learned a lot. Like I learned a lot about microprocessors, which is the electrical minor, because it's like
I kind of
something.
regret not doing anything electrical.
It's like witchcraft, dude. You can like if you know how to use a computer that has that can like talk to the outside world, which is basically microprocessors. Modern computers are a little bit funky. I mean, you still can, but you can do anything. Like you can literally like the instant you can write some code and it turns a light on, it's like, oh my god, like.
I think that's what I didn't really enjoy about doing just mechanical was that you never really got that try something and get feedback. It was always like, here is a concept of how an aerofoil would react in this. Please use the aerofoil table, which tells you everything, and use the number.
It's so expensive to actually bring that into the real world for mechanical stuff.
And I understand that, and it's just kind of like, damn it. I kind of thought we'd do stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, maybe your school just sort of sucked. We didn't do stuff either, but like that's kind of, I feel like every time I explain anything to people, it's like the school is not going to teach you to like pick up a tool and to make the thing. Like they're going to do the analytical stuff. Yeah. And for electrical engineering maybe or computer science, like you can actually do things because it's free. It's cheap. Well, free, it's cheap.
Yeah.
Mechanical stuff is like, oh, you got to use the, a mill or a 3D printer or this. And even if it's not like actually expensive, the sort of time required is like expensive.
Well, that's what I didn't like about electronic and electrical engineering, which is we didn't get to use any cool stuff, I'm talking as a triple E major because I was always jealous of, mechanical engineers or aerospace engineers because they always talk about, oh yeah, I was in the wind tunnel doing all this cool shit. And I'm like,
I was going to go in the wind tunnel. They wouldn't let us, it was too expensive. They wouldn't let us in.
Yeah, I was like,
you in the wind tunnel.
I was in a fucking lab just like fucking writing code. And I light turned on and that was it. And I'm like, you guys are doing all the cool shit.
We spent so much time just doing CAD models and I fucking hate
What is that?
It's like when you build the thing in like, and I understand why, because it literally is just engineering. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's you do that for everything. But oh my god, was this mind numbing doing it? And I was bad at it. I couldn't visualize things in like a 3D space.
CAD's hard. It's really hard.
So I was like, this is miserable. And there was some other stuff that I didn't do it because I was too busy doing YouTube. So I started doing YouTube about second year of. So in the UK we do 3 years, not 4.
Okay. I did 5.5.
Yeah, normally it's like what a bachelor's would be 4, right?
It's supposed to be 4, yeah.
So in the UK it's 3.
Okay.
So second year in I started doing YouTube, so my free time is gone. But there was this thing that they did where every single university and like some of them in the UK and some in Europe could build a Formula 1 car.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Okay. Here they call it FSAE.
Yeah.
FSAE.
And so basically people from the engineering people can just all come together and build this car.
Yeah.
And they got to actually use all the tools. They got to build things. They got experience with it.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And I was like, why did no one tell me about this? I would have like loved to have like actually got hands-on experience.
Your school kind of sounds
it.
like my school a little bit.
Yeah.
Where it's like there's not a whole lot of money. I mean, I don't think they're broke, but they just don't invest the money into like creating. Like you always hear MIT. MIT is like filled with clubs and communities and stuff, and that's like it's so many smart, talented people come out of there because not the education is better, but the experiences are better.
I think because the moment at least for me, the moment my lectures or classes were done, I was gone. Yeah. There was no incentive for me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm the
no
same.
incentive for me to stay on the campus and do anything else because there was no other clubs. Yep. The only other like clubs that were even related to my field were like, I don't know, weird stuff that were just very, very, very niche and specific that I was like,
my only incentive was to just go to the nearby uni bar and just get shit faced.
Right.
Other than that, it was nothing.
Would you have joined a club that was like relevant to your field if you had the option?
If there was a chance that we could get hands on and do some stuff, I would gladly do it.
Yeah.
Like if I could use a CAD model and maybe actually get to print something. Or
oh my god, that pisses me off so much.
It would have been like, oh, okay, so I can make something in CAD, then actually look at it and understand why I built it like this and then try again. Yeah. But I understand that it's expensive. And
but like nowadays it's not, and so they probably do have them. But like even like relatively expensive, like a printer from 5-10 years ago, like you could still get something that worked. That would be cheap. Like a DIY
even like
thing.
the cheap ass plywood. They wouldn't even like let us do like the laser cutout of like the plywood that costs like 1 cent a sheet or something stupid. I don't know. I just kind of wish there was more chances to get more involved and get to whatever you learned, kind of visualize it or put something out there so you can be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like something tangible.
Yeah. I don't know.
You start connecting the dots. It's like, oh, if I do this work, I get this thing. Like I describe everything as tools. Like math is a tool.
Yeah.
You don't have to enjoy using the tool, but you are like excited when you use the tool to make something happen. And so it's like, you know, I've used calculus, I think like once in my entire life actually. And it was literally for like making a motor speed up and slow down. So I could like generate the acceleration of it. And it was like, holy shit.
Finally, I used it.
Yeah, exactly. And I never did it again, and I'm okay with that. But it's like,
you know you could do it.
I know I could do it and I understand it a little bit better. And it was like, that felt so good. And it's like, did I enjoy doing it? Like I've been doing a bunch of stuff recently to trying to build a CT scanner.
Yeah.
You know, like a 360 X-ray basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't really like doing math, but there is nothing more exciting than like writing some code that has like the math you wrote
And it works.
And it's just like,
Well, I feel like seeing that final product and seeing that final effect makes it so worth it, because if everything's just theoretical, you're just like, well, this is just fucking numbers.
yeah, there's no return. Like,
If I wanted to do this, I'd be a mathematician, you know?
Yeah.
But like, my university had one cool project, which was like, if you do Triple E in Bristol University, I hope it's still a thing. In the third year, we had this thing called a buggy project, where basically your class would get split up into teams. So it was a group project, but everyone had to do like
some part of it.
So yeah, everyone had to do some part of it. And we had like a buggy that we basically had to program, and a maze that the buggy had to navigate.
Like a small car?
Yeah, like a small RC car, kind of that kind of deal. And it had to like program to run itself around this maze and hit certain checkpoints and get to the end in as efficient as possible. And that was the only fun thing I ever did on the course, because it was like a cool thing that we all came together for, and we could actually see the final result of our hard work instead of just, doing a model or doing, modeling some stuff on a computer or some shit
You
like
like
that.
learn to work with other people, and it's like, oh, like if you can trust these people and they do their thing, and I trust myself and my team do this, and you put it together and it works.
Exactly. But like, I feel like the problem with, I feel like that kind of thing needs to be integrated in the course, because I know myself, and if there was some cool thing that you could have done with your course that was extracurricular activity in university, I wouldn't have fucking signed up for it. I know I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I would have been too lazy.
Maybe not in my third year, because I was already way too invested in YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I think there are a lot of people that would, though.
yeah,
definitely.
I think there's a lot of people in that middle ground who maybe do a specific course, and I think this happens a lot in engineering, where they're in that middle group where they're like, okay, they're doing engineering, they have an interest in it, but also there's nothing really keeping them like super invested in that.
Yeah.
And if you could just kind of capture that kind of middle group people and push them towards, hey, look, you can actually make stuff and make a difference. And
I think a lot of people don't even know that they would be interested in it until you sort of like, if you open that door, if you sort of connect the dot between here, you made a CAD model and then you printed it, and you're just like, holy shit. You know, it's almost like, it's like stifling a kid who's interested in something, where it's like, a kid is like, oh, I want to learn about this. And the parent's like, no. And it's like, for what, $150, you could have bought him like a Lego set or something like that. And now you would have like inspired this lifelong, like learning
obsession.
mission. It's like think of how cheap that is, like few tens of dollars and stuff with a school like that.
It's an investment.
Yeah, exactly.
for like universities, I mean, they have lots of money.
Yeah. Oh, they totally
just don't want to.
They don't want to hire the people that are required to get people excited about stuff. It's like, oh, we have a machine shop, but nobody can use the tools because you're going to kill yourself.
Did you? I don't know. Did you ever do this well when they make you buy they made me buy? I remember I was so annoyed about this. I was like, what? They wouldn't let you buy a cheap version of it. They made you buy a book with like the table of all the thermodynamic like constants of every material. And I remember it was something like $100 for this book. And if you dared bring not the book they recommend, they would like confiscate it off.
You just brought back like a wave of memory.
Did you have this thermodynamic table?
Not this book, but just
I
like
didn't have. I mean, it was same with books.
Yeah,
university textbooks in general. I remember showing up on my first day. I'm like, I'm ready to take on university. I got some spare change. First day you rock up and they're like, this is the recommended.
They'll be like, you have to buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
These are the textbooks you're going to need, and then you look up the prices, and it's like minimum, like first edition. It's £80 or some shit like that, and that's
like $100.
Yeah, and that's one out of 8 textbooks you need. I'm like,
see, because we had that list as well of like, oh, these are textbooks you'll be using during your first semester.
Yeah.
but you don't need it if you don't want it.
They don't
and I'm
use
just
them half
like,
the time.
okay, I won't.
Well, the thermodynamic one, at least for my exams, if you didn't have that book, you literally couldn't do the
So
exam.
they wouldn't let you. You had to have that for the exam.
If you went into the exam without it, you have to remember every constant for every material, every like grade of aluminum.
Right.
Aluminum, gross. Aluminium.
No, you said it right the first time.
You know, they would be like different, like it would be like heat treated aluminium.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, this is the constant. And it's like, this is insane. Like, I understand the, you know, like, I just think that why can't you print
Is that something you're supposed to remember as an engineer?
No, you can't remember the constant.
it's-
Well, then why the fuck?
Because they're dickheads.
Well, they want you to get used to the idea of like, okay, if you're using this material, using like tungsten.
You don't need $100 book to do it,
that's what I'm saying.
though.
Like you,
Well, can you not just
would be fine.
Google it?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the real world,
like
you would-
a normal
in
person?
the real world, you
Yeah.
would Google it.
I mean, it's
Or
probably
you would have the
good.
book, and maybe you would reference it once every blue.
I'm sure today there's probably like an app specifically that just has like a list of
for
it.
This book was like additions. I bet these materials weren't changing that much. I'm sorry.
Anyone doing any stuff like this is going to have the resources in the actual industry. Like, it's just you have someone who's going to deal with materials, someone who's going to deal with
Every single CAD model, you would put in the material and the type of material it was, and it would do it for you. It wouldn't like you wouldn't need to know the constant.
Like,
Wow.
You definitely, like, there are jobs where you have to do this stuff, but it's also like most of the time.
It's just like it's like you pay an absurd amount of money to go to college or university or whatever, and then they greet you with a, hey, spend another $1,000 that you wanted to use to live on these dumb books, just because we refuse to make it any easier for you.
Which they could.
Yeah.
But they don't.
And it's just like, I remember this big pile of textbooks that like I had when I finished my degree, and 90% of them were just untouched. They were like in pristine condition. And I spent like fucking $300-400 getting this shelf of textbooks. I'm like, why the fuck did I spend that amount of money? I'm a broke college student.
And you can't resell them because there's additions and barely anything changes.
They rearrange the question.
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
answer
Yeah.
is all
Oh
right.
my god.
Yeah.
What a ripple.
Yeah.
I gotta get
It's
a toilet.
fucked.
All right.
Yeah, no, it made me feel bad.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I'm just realizing now, like actual scam. In
It was like a
university.
legit scam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can't believe it.
I would like strip the security off the PDFs. Like I would like spend hours and hours trying to find ways to do that, like finding some Python script that someone wrote and then like throwing the PDF in there. Like I remember I bought one. I rented. No, I think I bought it from Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
An ebook. Then I've used this like Python script I found to like strip all the security off of it.
Shit.
And then I returned the book back to Barnes and Noble.
And so you had a copy. That
So I
was
had a
clean.
copy of the PDF that was clean and easier to use.
Did you
than,
just send it around to everyone?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
this won't be in.
No, this is years ago.
Oh, okay.
What are they
gonna do, sue me? What are they-
I don't even remember what book it was. They can't find me.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
no,
genius.
I really just like I like doing like making stuff. I think it's kind of like art. Like I always used to laugh at like STEM. I mean, you've heard of STEM before, like science, technology, engineering, math, and then STEAM, where they like would throw art into it, and I'm like, well, art doesn't belong in here.
Yeah.
And the more I think about it, the more it's like making stuff is half art.
Oh yeah, because you have to visualize.
You have to- exactly.
Kind of have this like vision for it that is quite difficult, and it's very very difficult at times.
Yeah.
And it's like, why else would you want to do something if it wasn't art? Like if you have to solve a problem, that's more engineering. But if you want to do something, that is kind of artistic. You know, like I used to try to make like camera equipment and stuff. So I had like a really crappy like camera slider that was like skateboard wheels and PVC pipes on like little what are those swivelly wheels called? You know, like dolly wheels.
Oh, the
kinda.
ones that you have on like office chairs.
Yeah. And so you could like, you know, slide it back and forth, get cool camera moves and stuff. Just like making like equipment that you couldn't afford to buy.
That's cool.
And like I made a thing, you know, the camera gimbals, like the stabilizing ones.
yeah.
So like before any of like the cheap nice ones from DJI came out, I bought one from some kid who had like screwed it up. So I bought it for like $100 because he had destroyed it and he was just trying to like get some of his money back. So it was like Craigslist bought it from him. Fixed it up, and then I programmed a bunch of stuff and added some electronics so that I could have this camera monitor wirelessly like external to it. And so you could, as you pivoted the monitor, the camera that someone else was holding over here would move.
That's insane.
Damn.
And it's like, I didn't need to do that. Like, why did I do that? It's not because I'm trying to solve an actual problem I had, because that kind of stuff just
Just
makes
like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, I just thought it was cool. And so it's like, you know, that to me made me realize I think that engineering and like sciencey stuff is more art. Where it's like I'm trying to like do things that I think are cool and interesting and see if I can solve these problems, which is like not far off from it's like painting. I mean, do you guys do any kind of hardcore traditional art stuff?
I don't.
Have you tried painting before?
I think I have negative art skills.
Yeah.
I did a little bit when I was young, but I was never good at it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like most people are bad at it.
Yeah. There's a reason why I don't do it anymore.
It's practice, right? Like any art is just like no one's like, I mean, I'm sure there's a prodigy, but most people aren't good at
We'll
painting.
beat them up.
Yeah, we'll beat them up. Well, you know,
Well, YouTube's an art form. making content, right? Making content.
I mean, I think being able to visualize.
I don't make content, I make art.
I think it takes a very creative mindset to be able to visualize a flow and kind of have that mind of
Telling
just
a story.
Yeah. That's hard. People can't do that normally. You do need practice.
Yeah.
The easier it looks like your video was to make,
The better,
the harder it was to make. And a lot of people don't understand. Like they think that we are much more talented than we actually are. Like, it's a lot more head banging against the wall to like get something to be.
Don't say that. I was writing on
I mean, a lot of your
illusion is broken.
Your videos are very stressful.
Yeah.
Like the Mr. Beast one stressed me.
bad.
I felt stressed watching that one.
What's the Mr. Beast one?
Yeah, you want to explain it?
You want to explain it?
I know. Do go ahead.
It's your video.
I got a, God, I don't even, it was such a whole thing that I'm trying to like even just compartmentalize.
This is like
where it
trauma.
started.
Sorry, am I digging up trauma?
No. Yeah.
Yes.
I know it was like a year ago, they asked if we wanted to make like a subscriber counter for them, hitting 100.
Oh, I thought it was this and the exploding thing as well.
It's both.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of started. So I was like,
Right.
yeah, like this sounds fun. Like, you know, it'd be like an introduction to their team and be able to see how they do stuff.
just a clock that
Yes, exactly.
mechanical clock that rotates.
Right.
Oh,
so
cool.
that was kind of the initial conversation. And then after that, a couple weeks later, they're like, hey, we're doing this Squid Game thing. And I was like, oh, like, okay, like, what do you want? What do you need? And it was a lot and a lot of time. And basically we needed to build some sort of like squib system to make it look like people were being shot.
Yeah.
Right.
Shoots out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they wanted to replicate a bunch of scenes from the show.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you know, what they do in Hollywood is they'll have little explosives. Like that's, I think the actual squib term is for the explosive charge that propels the blood out.
Yeah.
Right.
But they can use them for dirt and stuff. So you can bury them in dirt and cover them in dirt and you get like bullet hits and stuff. Oh, that's cool. So what you do for budget is you kind of use an air valve. You get like a piece of tube, like a sprinkler valve, basically a little air tank out of PVC, and you can like project blood out that way. But when you're talking 500 people, like there's nothing that exists that can do that.
Right.
And so we went through this like nightmare process to essentially theorize, like completely synthesize from scratch, a device that could be replicated 500 times in basically 2 weeks.
So when you found out about this project, when you found out about the project, was it 2 weeks before?
3 weeks before.
So you had 3 weeks from the call.
So that's the exact. People think 3 weeks. They don't really understand what that means.
Yeah.
It would take a week just to get the idea together.
Yeah.
And that's rushing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was week one. Week one was essentially what people think you have 3 weeks for is actually only 1 week. So you have 1 week to send something to a company to have a prototype come back.
Yeah, because I remember in the video, there's a lot of problems with certain companies wouldn't make certain things. It
was a
make them in the
disaster.
volume, right?
It was a disaster. It was really bad. And it was probably like, I try to be very like kind of passive and peaceful when I talk to people about problems.
Right.
I lost my shit multiple times talking.
You're like
I was actually, I at one point I was talking to someone on the phone. I felt bad. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going too far or not. Like if I'm just being a total asshole right now. But I was like, I literally said like, I'm fucked. You fucked us. And she was like, language. And I was like, what do you mean language? You fucked us. Like
I'm speaking English.
Like you're more worried.
It's like they couldn't fulfill an order or something.
They
like,
just didn't give a shit.
Right.
And then we had sent them like 10 grand. It was going to be like $20,000, and we had sent the first.
I think that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're spending 10 grand,
and it's like if I sign up for something and you tell me it may or may not happen, there's no guarantee it's going to cost this much money. I'm like, okay, you've warned me. But when you say that you're going to get it done in like 3 days and then nothing happens, like how am I not supposed to be pissed for that?
Yeah. You have every right to.
Yeah. Man, so you had 1 week of planning and then 2 weeks of, I guess, assembling 500 of these things.
No.
Well, because there was like an app as well and all that, and that must have. I wanted to ask about it because it seemed like crazy.
It was hands down Type 2 fun. It was like one of the worst experiences of my entire life.
What's Type 1 fun?
Type 1 fun, I think, where it's actually fun. Type 2 is where it's fun after the fact.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I've never heard of that.
I never heard of that.
That explains so much. There's so many things where I know in the moment I hated it, and afterwards I'm like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a Type 3 fun?
I don't know. I'm afraid at this point.
There's sadness. So, okay. So you had this company fuck you. And then I remember in the video, there's like some family owned business.
So
came,
some
like, to
small
the
family
rescue,
business that's like really understands the whole like circuit board making world. They basically intervened and they helped to handle everything because they understand how the whole pipeline works. They understand how to deal with these companies because it turns out like half of these PCB manufacturing companies are in Denver, Colorado.
Right.
Like it's almost like
That's the chip, the board itself.
Yeah, where they make the fiberglass and populate it with components.
Right.
So these guys don't make the fiberglass because that's like a very disgusting process, and it's like very a whole it's a whole chemical thing, and huge machines, like huge assembly lines. And so these guys essentially helped us to intervene and go to the company that was originally making them, still have them make the fiberglass because that's the hardest part to make. Then intercept them, take them to their small shop where they would then assemble them, which is the whole secondary process. Like it is such a convoluted process that does not work well if you have not enough time to do it. Like you have to have almost double the time you need in order for it to go. Yeah.
Was your first question like, why didn't you give me more notice or something?
No, I didn't ask them any questions. Like I was very blunt with them. That's why I was worried some people would get upset with the Mr. Beast team for asking for something so crazy. But it's like, they had this problem, and I said, I think we can do it. And I gave them a price. It was a lot of money, and I was like, it's going to cost an insane amount of money, because everything we do is like, if you buy something for $5, you pay $80 to ship it overnight. Everything is like balls to the wall. Whatever's the most expensive, fastest, guaranteed. And I warned them that you guys potentially going to pay us this money and we're not going to deliver you something. Are you okay with that?
And they were like, yeah.
And they said, okay.
Well, that seems like a very Mr. Beast thing to agree to.
It's just like money can solve all problems.
I was gonna say, like,
if you throw enough money at it, it'll fix itself.
Yeah.
Sure.
But, I mean, that was like the fairest, most honest thing I could tell them was like, I'm not going to be a yes man or a no man. I'm just going to tell you exactly how fuzzy it is.
Yeah.
You want to take the risk.
Well, as an engineer, I hear like the 3 weeks delivery time for the fucking scale of this project. I'm like, I would like to see this project be attempted in Japan. She's like, oh, okay, let me send the idea off for approval. You wait 3 weeks.
It takes 3 months for approval.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, we're still waiting for approval. We kind of missed the deadline there.
Yeah, the boss is off, fucking another woman.
I would wish to never do it again. Like it was like 3 weeks. Like I am so
sounds like a
proud.
nightmare.
Yeah.
But it was like the most stress I have endured in a long
Did they
time.
explain to you how they got into this position in the first place where they needed this project delivered in 3 weeks?
It's just, I want to say TV because
was it just like an idea? They were like, I wonder if we can get this done.
It was like Squid Game hype, got to do it now as quickly as possible. So they set the deadlines, and it's like then you look at the show or the episode of Mr. Beast, and it's like everybody else who did something similar.
Right.
It's like the giant sets, or the bridge, or this, or the special effects, and it's like, oh, holy shit, you guys! Like, it was crazy. It really was.
Yeah. Damn. How was it seeing the final result after seeing like what you got involved with and just seeing this? Like, I think this is the biggest project that's been on YouTube that comes to my mind.
Other than Jimmy also doing the Willy Wonka thing.
Right. Whoa.
It's all just Jimmy stuff.
I mean, it's all just Jimmy stuff at this point, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think Squid Game was like the first one that really set the level of what he could do and like him just like completely leveling up his content.
I mean, didn't he say that video cost him more money than the entire production budget of the TV series or something?
So. I think it was very expensive.
It was like $2-3 million, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like
I think that it was approaching, or it was comparable. Like it was in the same ballpark. Like it wasn't exactly the same. I don't even think it was half.
Yeah,
but it was much closer than it should have been for a YouTube video.
Yeah, for a single YouTube video.
Like 4 or 5 million, right? I think it was overall. Something crazy.
I think something.
I can't remember.
What's the production budget for the Squid Game TV series?
Sure it was like more.
And the Was it
And
none?
the Mr. Beast, if you can find
I
it.
remember he publicly said how much it was. I think it was
Yeah,
pretty open.
yeah, they shared all their.
It was like 2 or 3
information on
million, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 million.
Yeah.
If
1
I
million
remember.
was for the scripts.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that much. It was-
No, okay,
we
okay.
should have asked them for more money, but they had already paid. It was a whole thing.
Oh, afterwards you were like, fuck.
No, I did ask for more and they gave us more, but because we had to spend a bunch more money too.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I imagine that initially you probably gave an estimate that was very generous, but even then it's like, okay, well, overnight shipping plus all the fuckery with the board companies.
Yeah, and it's also weird, like being on YouTube and asking somebody for an insane amount of money, because like if any other person came to me and asked me about that, I'm like, I would just say no. Like the only reason I even entertain the idea is because it was Mr. Beast. I'm like, okay, well, if anyone's going to be willing to pay what it's going to cost to do this, it's going to
that
be
makes sense. Yeah,
Because like we had to like mobilize people that had like day jobs at like Silicon Valley tech companies, where it's like they literally like had to just
mobilize. What are they, secret agents? Empire?
How do you convince someone who works at a tech company who like has trouble getting time off to basically play hooky?
I know.
Sure.
I mean, it seemed like your team was pretty good though.
They were, we could
It seemed
not
like
have done
it was very funny. I enjoyed your video about it. It seemed like you made it seem a lot more chill than I imagine it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was it like on the filming day? Like,
it was chaos. So like the first day went horribly wrong.
Right.
They threw the whole day away. It's not in the video. I didn't put this in the video.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
we got some sneak peek information. Let's
so like, there's a whole day that went wrong that they threw away, and they ended up paying all the contestants like an additional. I don't even remember how much it was. It was like I think $1,000 each or something like that.
Jesus.
Like, what went wrong on the day?
The pacing was messed up because we had built the Squid system, and there was another company that was supposed to do motion detection.
Right.
And I had warned them. I had tried very much to warn them of like, I don't think that it should be done like this, but it was too late because they'd already paid these guys.
Yeah. Oh,
and the way we like meshed the two systems together was not good.
Oh, so it just didn't. So the reason, so the first day, the reason why it went back, like that wasn't used, is because the whole system was just broken.
It was not broken, but it was a pacing issue that Jimmy wasn't happy with because it felt like a show, not a competition. Because he wanted it to be like real time. He wanted it to be like, oh, like, you know, green light, go, everyone runs, red light stops, and then it's like people start popping.
Yeah.
So what was
So
what was happening was they would say green light, red light, and then it's like this guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, and it's like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, like a minute later, and then it's like, okay, pop them. And so it's like, just a dysfunctional, like it just, everyone's like now holding still, trying to hold still, and they're saying, oh, they're moving this. And so it just, you know, I mean, they did everything really quickly, 3 weeks.
But I would argue, wouldn't those like 30, 45 seconds of silence be cut out of the video anyway?
Yeah, but I think that Jimmy likes it to be very realistic. And it also just kind of, I don't know, it could be a weird energy if everyone is sitting there.
I get that. I can see why you'd.
I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, that's got to be an expensive decision, though, to push it back. So what was the solution in the end?
The solution was they basically scrapped that entire other system that they had
already paid for. Oh, wow.
Then we were lucky because we had developed the iOS app.
Yeah.
Which also wasn't even supposed to be a part of the original plan. It just like, that's a whole like
you almost made it.
Well, one of my friends like heard about the project and he started just sort of making this.
Just for fun, or
just kind of for fun. Yeah. And I saw it and I was like, yes.
I want a friend that just makes iOS programs for fun.
Well, it turns out it's like YouTube and Mr. Beast and money are a very good way to get people excited about it. Like you can pay people to do something, but you can't pay them to get excited about it.
That's true.
That's true.
And that's like, it's, you know, people get kind of upset about that sometimes of like, oh, I'm here to work so that I can pay my bills. And it's like, I get it. But also if you are excited about something, the work ends up being really benefits everybody.
It's better if you invested in it.
Yeah, it's better to be passionate.
So the app fixed all the problems?
So we scaled the app from like 6 iPads to 100 iPhones. And so literally we like maxed out the developer account, or we were just like, we spent an entire night just programming iPhones over and over.
So
it was like USB.
You did all this in one night
in
after
like a few hours. Yeah. So, and then you like, okay, here's 100 iPhones. Shit. So there were 500 iPhones because everybody originally was wearing an iPhone, all the contestants.
Oh.
And that was supposed to be the motion detection. But the problem was they started dying.
Oh, because you were filming so long.
Yeah, because like I'm listening to this and I'm like, yeah, we had an issue with our GoPros on bikes with because we kind of just hoped that if you strap a portable battery and it charges the GoPro, then it would work, which worked perfectly. But there are some issues that you just can't like predict. Like when we were filming our drifting special, our GoPros would just overheat because it was so hot, and we just didn't have a solution. So there was
like nothing you can do.
I don't even think they sell something that can handle that.
No. So just thinking, like hearing this story and just thinking, we're just gonna like make a tech solution in like 6 hours and just kind of hope that it works on this $3 million video. I'm like, there's like part of me, like all of me is like stressed right now, and I wasn't even part of this project.
Were the people just like, you know, because obviously they want to know when it's going to work. Were there a lot of people being like, "Hey, William, when's it going to be fixed?"
Yeah. So I basically whoever like our liaison there, he's great. And he gets it, and he trusts me, and I trust him, and so like there's really good communication there, where it's like I'm going to be as literal as possible. Like I'm not going to be funky. I'm not going to hide anything. But there's a lot of people who kind of are more TV minded, and at that point, I had such a short temper
from all the stress.
That I was like, the instant like somebody came, like any of their guys came to any of my guys and they were asking stupid questions, I would just like, I think they learned like, do not.
What kind of things were they at?
It was just like, oh, like when's it gonna be ready? When's this? When's that?
Oh my god!
And I'm like, I look at them, it's like, you guys, like right now, you ever seen the like videos of like a raccoon in a trash can? And they open the lid, it's like it's stuck and it can't go anywhere. So it's like gets really aggressive. It's like you've trapped it. That was me. Where it was like, I am trapped in this environment of having to make this thing work. I don't give a fuck if you have to wait 30 minutes. Like I don't give a shit how much money it costs you. Like go away.
I just realized, is it ready yet? Is one of the most asinine questions to ask. It's like, if it was ready, I would fucking tell you. It's the equivalent to, are we there yet?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, or it's like, why are you asking that?
Question is, would you do it again?
Depends.
How much are we talking?
Immediately I'd say no.
Flash before his eyes for that moment there.
I would say no, unless
the idea was exciting.
The idea was exciting, and it would have to be a little bit more time. Like literally 1 extra week. Would have made a huge difference, because there's just something about like, if you have too much time, you'll drag it out. And if you have too little time, it's going to be a nightmare. Like there's a sweet spot where like you can start panicking at 5 weeks and you'll get it done. If you have 5 years, like why are you going to rush it?
It's true.
Just like hearing the story, it actually like gives me anxiety. It's like, it's like, you know that feeling where you've got a deadline the next day and you haven't started your dissertation until the night before. It feels like that, but just for like 3 weeks constantly.
It's like the crushing feeling of knowing it can't be done.
I was at home, I think, for like only a couple days that whole 3 weeks. I think 11 flights or something.
Wait, where were you going?
I flew up to San Francisco, I flew to Texas, flew to Colorado, flew to North Carolina. I
think I would actually get like nightmares. Just
it was
like
bad,
like I just wake up in a cold sweat. I was like, oh, Jimmy's got a request.
Like I was probably sleeping like 4 to 6 hours every night, which is not a lot. Like I sleep 4 hours every night. It was rough. I mean, like you guys make, you know, like bigger videos, like when you have a goal to go do something. Like imagine like when you're doing a video, failing is okay for the most part, because you know, if I'm trying to do this and you know, like your car breaks down or something, like that's part of the content. But there's something horrible about engineering, where not just engineering, but engineering from like a practical perspective, not a YouTube perspective, where it's like 500 of these have to work.
Exactly.
It's not like my video where I can make it work, and if it stops working, I stop filming and I fix it, and then I do like these have to work. They have to work.
And exactly, and it gets to a point where you involved in a project like this, and it's very different from just making your own video, because you realize there's so many different moving parts. Whereas if your moving part doesn't work, then that affects everyone else's things that they've been working on, and it's just
and then you like, I know how much money they're spending on this. And I'm like, I'm not gonna be the guy that ruins it. Like this is my senior design project in college, was this UAV. It was like an airplane that we were supposed to fly, and you're supposed to look at targets on the ground and yada yada yada. And there was like 60 people on the team. It was way too many people. So I built this whole like image recognition system, and it was supposed to like, I never programmed it, because long story short, it turns out if the plane doesn't fly because the team that was supposed to make it fly didn't do a good job, then what's the point of all the work I did? You know, so it's like, I'm not going to be the guy that doesn't allow this video to take off. Like, it's not going to be me.
Do we know actually how much money was spent on that video?
Yes, apparently 3.5.
That sounds right. Yeah.
3.5 million.
So we weren't even right. It was 3.5.
More than
I thought
that.
it was like 2.5 or
Yeah.
some shit.
How much was actual Squid Game?
21.4 million.
Yeah, when
21,
people are like, oh, it costs more. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
Still a lot of fucking money for a YouTube
still,
video.
still a lot of fucking
I
money.
know, but if people be like, oh,
Yeah.
it's better than the, because people be like, they were so excited about it being from a YouTuber. They're like, it's
Yeah.
better than Squid Game. And it's like,
Nah.
like, come on, man.
It's different.
It's a different thing
Yeah.
entirely. Why are you getting it? I don't know.
You know how sometimes you have a nightmare where you go to school and you're naked or some shit, or
Yeah.
you like haven't prepared for this homework. Do you think like Jimmy's team just like wakes up and just like just wakes up to a fake phone call with Jimmy or something, having like a request? You're fired.
So I actually, I filmed a video with him. So we did the subscriber counter, which I don't think has been published anywhere. I'm not making a video about it. I'm not doing another project for him. Like I was just like, nope, just gonna do this thing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try to document it.
Yeah.
But I asked him if I could like make a video where I live with him for 24 hours. And he said yes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
So I got to spend a full 24 hours like going through exactly what they do every single day.
Right.
And got to sleep in his
His bed.
his bedroom with him.
That's funny as well.
And it's definitely like there's a lot of like chaperoning where it's like, okay, you gotta be here, you gotta be here. Like his phone's always going off. Like people are always like asking him for feedback about stuff. And it's like it's a lot. Like I definitely, it's a whole thing.
You get anxiety just being near it.
Yeah, kind of. I think at the end of the day I would not trade places with him.
Yeah.
No way. No way. Like absolutely not. I don't
So what did you do in this 24 hours then?
just everything he did.
When is it coming out, the video?
I don't know. We're some
I noticed that when I spoke to you, you're like, yeah, editing, it takes a while.
it does, yeah.
Because you still do your editing, right? And everything.
Yeah, I've been having somebody help me, which has been helping a lot. Like I think that I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you guys edit, but like for me, it's like I try to like figure out like the best way to make it work.
Yeah, I mean they don't edit.
I give like, I used to, and then I found,
I did the opposite.
Yeah.
I used to not.
Oh, see, because I was like, I am a bad editor.
Yeah.
And there are people who are very good at editing.
I'm a bad editor.
I
but
should
like
just get
bang
the
my
very-
head until it's
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I mean, I still edit everything I do, and it's more of just I've just realized that 90% of this work was like there are some things I really value in terms of my editing, in terms of like how it portrays my personality and everything like that. And I realized that was only about 10% of the video, maybe. So I can get someone else to do the stuff that I hated doing, which is just cutting down this timeline and getting this into the timeline and
Finding
getting
the
this
good
presentable.
bits.
Yeah, and then I could do the fun parts.
Yeah.
So sorry, Alan.
That's what I'm trying to do. But like one of the things we've been thinking about a lot recently is like, why are people watching certain things? Like, what is it about a video that gets people? Like, why do people spend time watching YouTube videos?
Yeah.
And so it's like trying to
Why are we
analyze.
here? Just to suffer.
Well, so it's like, I never really understood Twitch for the longest time. And then I realized like, oh my God, I drive to school every single day listening to like a radio talk show.
Yeah.
That's like exactly the same thing. Like literally exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So now you can just see the face.
right.
Yeah.
And I think that when I like try to think of why I watch videos, it's like I like stories. I like sort of interesting, facts. I like motivation and purpose. And so we've been trying to like figure out how do you make the audience understand that motivation and purpose before getting into a video? Like, why are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
Why should they stay to the end?
Yeah. How do you get what's your creative process in terms of like making ideas then? Because it feels like your videos now are so varied in terms of ideas. Is there like, do you just like come up with a random idea, or is it like an entire process to be like, this would be an interesting story to tell?
So sometimes this would be an interesting title thumbnail. Like I think this title thumbnail would work well because that's something Mark Rober taught me a long time ago of like, if I can't imagine the title thumbnail, I won't film the video.
We've said this as well.
Yeah. And that's can be really frustrating as I guess like the artist side of things of like, but I want to do this thing, but I don't
Limits
know how
ideas.
how do you tell people, how do you convince people to watch a thing, and they'll, everyone will tell you like, oh, that sounds interesting. And it's like,
It's easy to say, but actually, clicking on is a different story. Yeah.
And so that's something where, I'm like, what tends to work well, this is if anybody's trying to do YouTube, is what is an actual problem you actually have that you can fix?
Yeah.
That works really well. Like, here is an issue in my life that will most likely relate to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to do two things. Like, it's going to help establish why you're doing it. and it's going to tell them why they should get to the end of it.
Yeah.
Do you need to go to the doctor for your CT scan? Are you putting it off?
That's what I did. I did an X-ray video.
I love the
and that's what I
X-ray video.
did
That was
because
great.
I actually spent days. Like I was planning on doing an X-ray video before I went to the hospital.
Right.
That video scared a lot lot of people there, right?
Yeah.
Because they were like, X-ray.
Yeah, it's not good, but it's not that bad.
Okay, hold on. Break that down. What do you mean?
So
okay.
I'm not a radiation expert at all.
So I think I'm the right guy for the job.
X-rays are ionizing radiation,
Yeah.
which means that they can damage your cells, which can cause cancer. So statistically speaking, if you're exposed to more ionizing radiation, you will have a higher chance of getting cancer.
Yeah.
If you get on an airplane, you're being exposed to ionizing radiation. If you work on an airplane, you are regularly being exposed to ionizing radiation. An X-ray is pretty much in the same ballpark as taking flights. So if you work as like a stewardess or a pilot, you are being exposed to way more radiation than whatever that video was.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Which is a little terrifying.
We've gone on a lot of flights.
No, there's people out there who fly a lot.
Yeah, of course.
I took my Geiger counter on a flight because I wanted to like,
No.
and I was like panicking. I had to shut it off because it was just like beeping, like beep, 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 beep.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yes. It was going apeshit. And I was like, it sounded like a bomb was going off, and I was like trying to figure out how to mute it really quick.
Oh my god.
I'm like sitting on my seat, and everyone around me.
Is that
like,
bad?
It's that bad, yeah.
Well, you
Well,
know
now
that-
you make me scared of flying.
You know,
I
there's-
put a sinful hat on, literally.
Sometimes there's some knowledge that you don't need to know. I think that was like one of it, you know. This episode is sponsored by PCSpecialist.
Get ready for the next generation in PC gaming with PC Specialist. Get ready to market from day one with the latest component launches.
PCSpecialists are one of the leading custom PC manufacturers in Europe, specializing in gaming PCs, laptops, workstations, and a whole lot more.
My first good computer was actually PCSpecialist. I got it about 10, 11 years ago, and it never let me down. I loved it.
They have a focus on building high-performance systems for gamers, enthusiasts, content creators, and professionals, like this man right here.
Professional.
Definitely not a professional. Luckily, their easy-to-use configurator allows you to customize each component of your build to your desire, so even someone like Chris can build a PC.
Yes. And each PC is meticulously cable managed to ensure neatness and tested to ensure stability and performance.
Yes.
All their PCs are powered by Windows 11. Playtime, anytime.
So get a discount on your next order at PC Specialist by visiting the link down below and using coupon code TRASH at the checkout.
Thank you to PC Specialist for sponsoring this episode. Back to the video.
All right, I found a chart.
Radiation dose chart.
So sleeping next to someone, this is from XKCD. Sleeping next to somebody is 0.05 microsieverts.
Okay, which is nothing.
Background dose
I would
received.
hope so.
Background radiation dose received by an average person over one normal day is 10 microsieverts.
Okay.
A flight from New York to LA is 40 microsieverts.
Okay,
So
where's the
just,
X-ray?
just existing, you get background radiation. A dental X-ray is 5 microsieverts.
What, less than the average day that you get?
Yes,
Oh.
And the plane is 40.
40.
So it's like getting 5 of those, I suppose.
Yeah.
Huh.
So then a chest X-ray is 20 microsieverts.
So that's half a plane.
Yeah.
Half a plane.
Far
ride.
out.
Okay.
So if you sit on a plane from LA to New York, that is
You're getting 2 X-rays.
you're getting 2 chest X-rays.
Okay. What's up on that list?
By the end of the Trash Taste tour, we're going to be like glowing. Like, Connor's going
I'm
to
gonna have like a third arm.
Connor's going to transform into the Hulk.
The EPA's yearly release target for a nuclear power plant, 30 microsieverts.
What, just being working at the plant?
So I think so. Yes, I think it sounds like it's very strict. Basically, you can't have any radiation leaking from a power plant.
Would that be 30 a day?
Yearly,
Oh.
and maybe release. I'm not really sure exactly what that
30
is, but-
yearly.
No, every year, 30 microsieverts.
Jesus.
It just gets worse and worse too when you get, because it all depends, I think, on like where the X-rays are going.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
head can be really bad and whatnot. But long story short, it's not that bad. I think eating one banana is 1.1 microsievert. So
Yeah, I remember this.
if you ate 50 bananas, that's 1 dental X-ray. I mean,
Wow.
yeah.
Fuck, that's what
Yeah.
my daily diet. Yeah. I'm taking a dental
gonna
X-ray
die.
every day. I should just X-ray myself instead.
Yeah.
So X-raying your hand wasn't that dangerous. But people were freaking out. I remember in the
Yeah.
comments, people were
Yeah,
like, what the
yeah.
fuck?
Yeah, and I talked to someone I went to high school with is basically like a radiation kind of engineer for
right.
medical equipment, and she basically said like it's not a big deal.
I'll just X myself. I'll
It's
X
not
myself right now.
good.
Yeah.
but
disclaimer: it is not
it's
good.
not good.
Please
Don't do it at home.
Please don't go out and go buying X-rays.
It's like drinking alcohol. Like, would you ever tell somebody that drinking alcohol was healthy?
No. But alcohol is like, you know, that's.
I think it's because it's you can't see it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Like media too has built it up as to this crazy, cancer causing.
It comes from space. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that led into the video about you getting like hate comments as well, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people got mad at that one.
Of course they're gonna get fucking mad. They get mad at everything. Even like friends I know who don't watch your channel.
Yeah.
They who are YouTubers have watched that video.
Yeah.
Because I think it's something that a lot of people in the industry or field can relate to a lot. Have you seen this video?
No.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's explain the video.
So I had done
I'm very much a noob when it comes to your channel. I'm
That's
sorry.
fine. It's fine. I had done a video in the past where I like kind of looked at hate comments or mean comments where it was like I think when I bought a BattleBot TV show.
Okay.
And some people, I knew it was going to drive some people nuts. And so I took some of those comments and kind of made a humorous video around it. And I'm like, oh, I did the X-ray video and got the same thing. I was like, I'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
But someone was pretending to be an expert.
Okay.
And so I
average
basically
Reddit
reached
user.
out to them and I kind of made them talk in a way that revealed they were not really that much of an expert. Okay. Because I've had a lot of interactions online related to like engineering and safety, which are kind of frustrating. Because like some of the stuff is like not super safe, but not crazy dangerous. Like I'm probably a lot safer than most people think. Like I remember long ago, I made a video where I was testing safety glasses with my laser cutter, and there was a comment talking about not having to wear safety glasses around the laser cutter he works with. But like what the guy was completely missing was that the laser cutter I had uses like a mid-range infrared light.
Yeah.
And the laser cutter he was using is like a near IR. So like near IR will go right through your cornea. Whereas the mid-range will like basically stop at your cornea. I mean, it'll still burn the crap out of your eye. But and so you end up with like people are very willing to communicate completely like wrong information. Which is terrifying.
In a confident tone.
Yes, exactly. It's like, you're talking about something that could like blind people.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you don't need to do that. I don't do that. I don't do this. And it's like, oh my God. And I remember like, replying to him. I don't reply to comments anymore. This is years ago. And I said, like, are you talking about like fiber lasers? Like this is really different, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh yeah, I guess that's not. And it's like, if somebody read this, they're going to.
I was like, oh, okay, I guess I don't need to.
Yeah. Exactly. So I get really frustrated sometimes seeing like the kind of like the technical talking.
People just say things. I mean, that's what I do on the podcast. I just say shit that I'm confident about that is completely wrong.
Right.
That's just
we all do that. All three of us do that.
Of course, yeah.
We've done that plenty of times.
I'm incredibly paranoid about doing that. I don't know why, other than like for safety stuff explicit. Like I do not like saying
I can understand a lot more
things.
with when you're making stuff and safety stuff that you would take that a lot more seriously.
Yeah. If you say the wrong thing about an anime series, it's not a life or death situation.
Yeah.
So
and our audience knows not to listen to us. We're absolute fucking clowns to begin with anyway. But I guess with your expertise and how your content is like, what your content is about, I can see why people would, I guess, pay more attention to that.
Right.
Yeah. There's a bit more severity to, saying the wrong thing, I feel.
So I try to put disclaimers where it's like, I'm not an expert, or I think this is how it works.
Right.
And that way it's kind of like, here, I'm going to fuzz it a little bit. Like, this is what I'm pretty sure how it works, but also,
don't quote me on that.
I've been on the internet for a couple hours researching it. And I think, like with a CT scanner, I think I've watched maybe like 4 hours of college lectures about CT scanning and like computed topography. And it's like, does that make me an expert? No. But I also wrote a Python script that does, CT math. So it's like, where do I fall? I don't know.
Well, I've always actually wondered, because talking to you and talking to a lot of people on Safety Third and a lot of people involved in this side of YouTube, it seems like you guys are more than anyone else on YouTube willing to risk safety to make good content. Yeah. What is your line? Because we had Nigel on last week and that was just kind of like
he has no line.
That was just like interviewing a serial arsonist.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, like, I'm not the most dangerous YouTuber. I'm like, who is the most dangerous YouTuber?
The most dangerous? I could probably, so there's a okay, so here's the thing. When we do stuff, like as we're talking about this,
I love this.
we are always aware of the risk. And like, we're not going to put ourselves in a situation where we're like knowingly doing something really bad. And a lot of times people will see something that is dangerous. And then that's like immediate panic where it's like, oh, there's high voltage, or oh, there's this, that's dangerous. And it's like, what? Like if how do you think they made helicopters?
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
You think they just built a helicopter and it worked the first time?
I was like, I thought you were alluding to some like horrible helicopter-based accident.
I shit you not. There's this horrible, amazing video of the guy who's like piloting one of the first helicopters. It's like vibrating and it like bounces him out of the seat, and the rotor kicks him and like launches him, and he's like totally fine. Or that's what they said, at least.
He's paralyzed, totally fine.
Apparently, he kept flying it. Maybe not. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I remember it.
I'm not an expert.
It's an old video. I'm pretty sure that
there are some videos I see on the internet, like some of the compilations of like near-death compilations on YouTube, and they're like, disclaimer, all these people are fine. And I'm like, can I get a source for that? 'Cause I see some of these clips, and they definitely don't fucking look fine. You know?
Have you heard of the Ford Pinto?
No.
Like one of the big issues with, car manufacturing back in the day, I think it was like the 70s or 60s.
Right.
When they'd get rear-ended, the doors would jam, so it would compress the frame and like the doors would
they
jam.
crumple now, right?
Yeah. And so you couldn't open the doors, and then they would also like catch on fire.
Right.
And so the decision was to pay out the claims as opposed to fix the design flaw. That to me is a huge no-no when it comes to danger. Like, I'm not going to put other people's lives in danger unless they understand what we're doing.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I'm willing to put myself in danger. I'm willing to put, like Kevin, the backyard scientist, Nigel, Alan Pan, them in danger. But also at the same time, they are well aware of what the danger is.
Yeah. I mean, they're educated on the stuff they're doing as well, so they all know.
Yeah, so what is your line, I guess?
I would be mortified if I hurt somebody out, like who was not in that kind of.
Right.
So if you chopped Alan's leg off or something, you'd be like, oh, well,
at least we got the shot.
We probably wouldn't get far enough into something to actually drop unless it was like a horrific accident.
Yeah.
So like when we did this car video recently where we were driving
it was very
around.
funny. Yeah, it was great.
Took me like 6 months to edit that one too. And we basically cut the frame of the car apart, take the roof off, and we drove it around town. And it's like we're going 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
For a couple miles. It's like not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, what's the worst that happens? The car just goes like,
Yeah.
and then comes to like a grinding halt.
Yeah.
Right,
So that I'm not too worried about. And like nothing happened anyways, because like if you cut the roof off a car and it falls apart because of that, I mean the car was clearly not very strong.
Yeah.
It's the car's
That's
fault.
the car's fault.
Tearing it apart.
Like imagine somebody like hits the top of your car and all of a sudden the structural integrity.
It's like a Looney Tunes
Cut
thing.
the wings off a plane. If it doesn't fly, well, that's the kind of the plane's fault, right?
So who is the most dangerous? Who's
the most dangerous that I can think of off the top of my head right now is this Russian channel called Kriasan.
Of course it's Russian.
All right. Well, that's like a cop out answer. It's Russian.
Yeah.
They're insane and it's amazing. Or maybe they're Ukrainian. I don't really know.
What's like an example?
So they go to like Chernobyl. They've gone to Chernobyl a bunch.
Yeah.
And just sort of done things there that like I think I'm pretty sure they snuck in. I think they snuck into like the Russian space shuttle facility, which is like super guarded. And it's just like this like rotting corpse of a space shuttle, but like the Russian one.
Right.
And it's just on YouTube.
Yeah, it's just on YouTube. Yeah. And like there's like security and stuff that they're sneaking past, and like they panic when they like crawl up in and everything. So they're like climbing on, ancient scaffolding that's like not been taken care of at all. And it's like at any point in time, stuff could fall apart.
Your videos don't really make me anxious, and I'm watching them. I don't really fear for your safety at any point. Like,
Well, I mean, the video got posted.
Yeah, true. But there's some other people I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck?
This could go very wrong.
Yeah.
I definitely play stuff up too.
Yeah.
why
I mean,
not?
you do for the content.
It's insane, man.
It's good content.
Like we built the X-ray machine. Like the first time we made it work was actually me and Kevin, the backyard scientist. So we were in my garage, we put it together, hooked it all up, and then what's in the video is essentially me kind of like going through the process again.
Yeah.
Because it's really difficult to try to film a process like that in an entertaining way.
Yeah.
So it's like I already knew what I was doing, and what looks dangerous, like it's not dangerous, but it's also being kind of done in a safe enough way.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I'm not like getting my hands in there, I'm not getting too close to it. It's like every time I turn the thing on, I know it's on, and when I'm done, I ground it. Like it's being very, very step by step, very procedural. With like I'm not gonna put myself.
Damn, illusion broken. I can never watch that video the same way again.
But it really just is, it's just entertainment.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like,
What's the most dangerous thing that has happened?
That dog seemed very dangerous.
Which one?
I did a thing though.
that one.
You're helping.
Yeah. So that one is.
Do you want to explain the video?
I mean, you made it, like, sort of. They just strapped a machine gun to like a Boston Dynamics
discount
dog.
Boston.
Yeah, a
Dynamics dog,
discount one. I was kind of disappointed it wasn't the legit one.
That company's so mad at him.
Oh, really? I'm not surprised.
It's really funny. they're sending him DMs because he tried to buy one a while ago.
Right.
So they're sending him DMs of like, oh, we like your video. Could you tell us the serial number of your robot again? We would like to upload the software. And so like they're like trying to shut the robot down.
Right.
Well, it's going to become like it's got a taste of guns.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be quenched.
Yeah.
It's sentient now.
16 again. Like what would shutting it down achieve now? What was it like it got you?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Piece of shit. Don't use a gun. Dogs.
Because nobody wants you to do this because it's bad. But the thing is, like that video, I think, like I'm really glad. Like I like, I don't know. I feel like engineers are like, I don't know. I like the idea of all that stuff, but there's something that you need to be able to describe to people, like Black Mirror stuff. Like this is a real possibility, and you need to be like, do you want this to surprise you?
Yeah.
Or do you want somebody to be like taking shortcuts to try to show you that this technology is basically possible?
I didn't watch that video thinking, oh wow, they're so responsible for putting a gun on a dog. I'm like, the military's going to put a gun on a dog.
Eventually, yeah.
I mean, they're putting it on the dog regardless we want it. We should just, we should be aware this is going to happen.
And so it's like, is that scary?
The military is going to put a gun on those dogs. 100%.
I guarantee they've
Send out the dogs.
They've already done it.
You haven't seen it, but
Who was it that said this? Like World War III, we do not know what kind of weapons they would be using. It was Einstein.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
Just a bunch of Boston Dynamics dogs with guns on them.
It's like 2070. You see the hill. There's like a shot of like the hills and just like a
Here they come!
It's Saving Private Ryan. Just
But they say in America,
dynamic
the
dogs.
redcoats are coming.
Yeah. Is putting a gun on a dog any different from putting bombs in a UAV? Like, really?
No,
it's the
it's
same
not.
thing.
Yeah.
It's just scarier because it's a dog.
It's terrifying.
And it's like, that's a thing I like.
I had two safeties on it. So I had two remote controls. One of them was controlling a servo to pull the trigger. The other one literally interrupted the power to the servo. So I could disconnect the servo power. It's not even like a signal or anything. It's actually just straight up cutting power to the servo motor.
Yeah.
So if that was disabled, nothing would happen.
Yeah.
Right.
And I had two of them. And I had to turn one on and then turn the other one on.
And then you get to shoot.
And it's still scary. Because like you at some point you have to load the thing and then walk away from it. And in that time, like that's like, I don't know, like that's where things go wrong. If something's gonna go wrong, that's where it's gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
It seemed crazy. Especially because when I met you in LA for the first time, you were telling me about this idea and I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But also sounds really interesting.
It was cool. I'm glad we did it. Yeah.
That's where I met you and you offered to lend the microphones for Trash Taste. Yeah. So you basically saved Trash Taste.
Yeah.
For
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We wouldn't have an LA arc if it wasn't for Williams.
But you didn't want the cameras because they weren't high enough quality. Right?
No, because we already rented cameras.
I need 4K.
Why do I sound like Oliver Twist?
1080p.
Well, we let you lend our setup and you were like, oh, we want to film in 1080. I'm like, why the fuck do you want to film in 1080?
It's less footage, easier to edit.
It looks awful nowadays, though.
It's you guys are the trash flavor podcast. And you're afraid of
No,
looking
we're the
bad.
Trash Taste. You're the garbage.
We're the
flavor.
garbage flavor.
What do you mean?
It's blending together. I can't.
We got a DMC.
Even Trash Taste has standards.
There's only two. You can't take
Make
us
us a
down.
robot dog or we're suing you.
Wait, why'd you say that as if Garbage Flavor was the first one to come out? It was like, we started it. You guys are just Trash Taste.
Did people send that to you? How did you see it? Did you?
No, we got a few funny
Yeah,
comments.
we got some memes out of it.
Yeah.
They're like, we're like, we don't even know who you are.
It's like, who?
Who's stealing our shit?
Yeah. Well, do you remember like back in the day with FPS Russia? That's probably like the most dangerous like content that I've seen on
very
YouTube.
famous clip of the truck exploding and like the shrapnel like going right past him, the giant door.
Oh,
Have you seen that? It kills him.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen that.
that's like the worst one, but there was several times like it's caught on camera
Yeah.
where you can see exploding shrapnel. One of them was I think also like a fridge door or something.
Oh, I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, there's a fridge door and,
And
there's
it's
one
just
of a
like
truck.
nothing. All of a sudden,
Yeah, and you can literally see his life almost ending if he just stood a few inches to his left, to his right. And I'm just like, how? This was the real Wild West of YouTube, man. Holy fuck!
Have you ever watched gun YouTube videos?
yeah. I remember FPS Russia back in the day. Yeah, that was like, that was it. That was
Nowadays, it feels less tame. I've seen some videos of stuff, and there's this one video of the dude getting his like eye blown out from a 50 Barrett caliber or something. It was crazy.
What?
Yeah,
Not
like
on
some
YouTube,
strap.
though.
It was on YouTube. You seen this video?
Yes.
The guy, the gun explodes.
Like
when he
knockoff
shoots it.
ammunition or something like that.
Yeah, and it like flies back and like he's like his dad like saves his life or something. I can't.
the
It's a
whole
really good video.
barrel
That's on
exploded.
YouTube?
You don't see the explosion. I think you see. I can't remember.
I don't think it's super graphic.
Right.
But
It's
you
not
know
that
it's
bad.
bad. And he essentially goes, he does like a whole breakdown of like what
It's a
the
really
aftermath
interesting
was.
video.
Yeah.
So it's a good watch. But like it's still even like the stuff that they do nowadays doesn't seem really as crazy as like what FPS Russia was doing.
No, YouTube gets
Yeah,
super.
That man was a YouTuber through and through. Because have you seen the interviews where people ask him about did it feel dangerous? And he was like, so if you didn't know, FPS Russia is an old school YouTuber who it was this Russian guy who basically just tested guns and just shot them at things that exploded until afterwards it came out that he wasn't Russian at all. He's
an
It
American guy.
was
bloke.
insane how he got that license that lets him just buy any of the crazy guns.
Yeah.
Wild.
You can do it.
Yeah.
It's just
When it's a
lot
William
of
Osman.
paperwork.
Oh.
I looked into it.
Really?
And
Yeah.
because I was curious. And it's like, because I'm like, well, wait a second, because machine guns are outlawed. They're outlawed by like, I think Reagan in 1984.
Yeah.
And that was not a total ban on them. It just created very strict rules around them. So you can still do it. And there's a couple ways of doing it. And it's a whole nightmare. And it's why not many people do it.
I thought I was always under the impression that YouTube, if it like had gun in the title or had gun,
They
in the
definitely
video,
don't like it,
it would
yeah.
like
Yeah.
demonetize
Probably
it.
demonetize it.
Yeah, I just don't do any.
Yeah,
videos
I mean, like
of
someone
this.
like FPS Russia, aside from what happened to him, couldn't exist in this.
Oh, no.
No,
this
no
environment.
way.
Yeah,
No
because
way.
like I was saying, like when you go back to his interviews and people ask him, "Were you scared?" and he was like, "Well, yeah, me. I can't remember his real name. I think it's like Nick or something like that. Like me, I was shitting myself."
Yeah.
But FPS Russia, he wouldn't be scared. So I wouldn't need. So FPS Russia wouldn't need safety glass. So if FPS Russia wouldn't need safety glass or a safety barrier, then I wouldn't.
I
So,
love that.
I mean, that's just like, man, this man was YouTube's first ever method actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
I love that.
Like that's insane. But yeah, it's insane that he basically got away with his life so many times.
Multiple times,
doing this insane shit on YouTube.
Do you guys watch
damn.
MythBusters at all?
Oh, I
Yeah.
love MythBusters.
They did really bad shit too.
Oh yeah.
Really? Like what?
I think they like launched
Early
a cannonball
MythBusters,
at
right?
some point. They
Yeah.
launched a cannonball and it just completely missed the berm and just shot into a city.
What?
Yeah, I don't think
How
they ever
far
aired
did this
it.
cannonball go?
Into a house, someone's house. Yeah,
What?
not close. Yeah, goes far.
I do know that like the first couple of seasons of MythBusters was very much like an experimental phase,
Yeah.
I think, where they were just like, how much could we get away with? But then I think as the show got bigger, they were just like, yeah, all right, we probably have to be careful. Because I think like in the early seasons, there was like an accident that happened where like an explosion went off and like Adam's eyebrow just gets completely singed off. So he like loses his entire eyebrow.
What?
And it's like, it wasn't planned. It looks like it wasn't planned. He's just like, yeah, I've just lost an eyebrow.
They did like they blew up a cement truck too. I think that was
Oh,
like.
that one was crazy.
I feel like it's like they were kind of approaching stuff that you really only see like the military do, but the military has like swaths of land that they'll just like go in the middle of some canyon that's like
Yeah.
Wait, why did they blow up a cement truck?
because they could, I guess. I mean, tell me right now, if you guys had the opportunity to blow up a cement truck, you wouldn't do it.
I would blow it.
I do vividly remember that episode, and the sound of the explosion doesn't sound real. It's like the type of explosion you would only hear in like video games because it's just so insane that
never heard it
it's like because you just see it. It's like a tiny cement truck way off in the distance, and then a second later it's just gone. It's just smoke, and then they walk up to it and they're like,
They said there was nothing left.
there was nothing left. It's just like it just turned to dust. And I'm like, and again, I don't remember why they did it.
Yeah.
I would do it if I had the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I haven't seen that clip. I have to watch that clip. I guess.
Yeah.
That sounds insane.
It's so entertaining. Yeah.
But also, like, even there are some other TV shows that seem like they could do some possible dangerous stuff. I'm thinking about like old school Top Gear as well. Like, I wonder how much safety precautions they did in some of their stunts. Like, do you remember? I can't remember if it was the Vietnam special or what. It was like one of the like Asia specials where they had to drive across this really, really narrow
I think that was
road.
legit though. I mean, you can't fake that.
Yeah, you can't really fake that, right? But
I think it's a lot like I'm not gonna say it's less safe than it looks, but I think that it's a lot more real than people think it is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the way I'd say it.
I think
Definitely.
sometimes people, because it's aired, so you're like, oh, they lived, so it's totally fine. So it's really easy to do.
But that's I say, like, you know, you look at all the U.S. rocket programs and everything. Like, I know I'm saying lots of people died doing that, and it's like, would you rather have your cell phone and a couple people in the day, the good old days, died, developing all the technology leading up to that, or we don't ever try anything crazy like helicopters?
So you think we need crazy people?
You gotta crack a couple eggs
to a mad
to make an
scientist
omelet.
right now. You know,
you are literally doing the mad scientist like mindset.
yeah. I mean, like, if I don't strap a gun to a dog, someone else is going to do it. It's like, so it might as well be
It's like
me.
it's like that meme with the flying cars. It's like society. If everyone was crazy, it would be flying cars by now.
Yeah, I definitely, like, I can totally understand. It's like, imagine like raising a kid, right? And you're just like, oh, never go outside, never touch a door handle, it might be dirty, never do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, then you're gonna have a weird sheltered kid that doesn't learn any real life experiences.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah. There's
Do your parents ever give you any concerns about some of the safety in your videos, or no?
No, I think they're used to it. I mean, I've almost I almost burned my parents' house down once specifically. That was bad.
What is it with science YouTubers and arson?
How did you do that?
I was just like, you know, doing like the aerosol flamethrower, but I used carburetor cleaner,
Oh my god!
which is like its own solvent, but it's like an aerosol with a solvent, and so it's like,
oh my! And so what you did in like the living room?
it just went straight up in the garage, and it like something in the ceiling caught on fire.
Is this just a rite of passage to every science or engineering YouTuber?
Yeah.
You must have like almost blown up or set your house on fire.
Yeah.
When your house did get burned down.
That wasn't my fault. It should have been.
I didn't know how to go to that transition.
I kind of realized that as I said it.
If there's one video on your channel I have seen, it's that one.
I cannot believe somebody took it from me. That was my job.
Oh, you wanted to be the one who did it?
Yeah.
With the insurance fraud and everything, just get it.
Exactly. I mean, if you think about it, though, like, that's what everybody else thought. They're like, oh, you burned your house down. And I'm
Wait,
like,
people actually think that?
I'm not anymore, but there was, I've never experienced any conspiracy before.
You mentioned in the hate video about how obviously people donated to the GoFundMe, and that was really stressful because you felt like you owed people.
Yeah.
Like what was going through your head with all of that stuff? Like it just seemed like, I mean, I don't even know how I would begin to process if that happened to me.
I think that like I do pretty well in like high stress situations where it kind of just goes like full logic brain. And in that situation, it's like, okay, just move forward. So it's like, what is the most reasonable thing to do right now?
Yeah.
And at the time, it was just get everything organized, continue to post videos, try to, you know, find a new place to live. But like, I think we ended up living in the motorhome for like 8 months or
You
something.
lived in an RV, right?
Yeah, in an RV in my parents' driveway. That's a downgrade.
If my house burnt down, posting videos would be the last thing.
Yeah. Honestly.
But it was like the only thing I had though.
Yeah,
It was
right,
like I had lost everything, like all my tools. Like I saved my computer, but I never set it up because I didn't have anywhere to put it up.
So, like, because I mean, obviously, I saw the video, but like, I don't know what was happening. Like, did you have insurance for your place, or is like, did you get any help from anyone?
We had got renter's insurance 3 months before.
Wow.
And that actually like saved our asses because the day of, we immediately went to cash like a $3,000 check from the renter's insurance.
Yeah, right.
Because otherwise, it was like we didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like
Did you know? Because obviously I imagine that like losing a lot of your possessions and stuff like that, that's got to change how you like view everything.
Yeah.
Like how did it shift how you feel about?
I think it was like a forced exploration where it was like, okay, I can't do what I've been doing.
Yeah.
So I have to figure out a way to keep doing stuff and try to be entertaining and nice. Sorry.
My ADHD just went. Go for it.
And it was also weird too, because I had spent a bunch of time kind of just, I don't know how to describe it, but like, you know, you said you were like watching anime just as a hobby. Like when I built the laser cutter, that kind of was the big start of my channel. Like I had built that as a hobby. Like I was thinking like, well, maybe I can make some money with it. Maybe I can make parts for people. But like I wanted that for me because the guy that used to have one near me moved. And so once the house burned down, I was so focused on just making videos that like I felt like I didn't have any time to kind of like reestablish anything, like making a new laser cutter or building a workshop. It was just kind of like video.
Right.
And so it was a very kind of like a realization that I need to definitely like figure out how to separate myself from making videos so that I can do other stuff to kind of almost build up what you would actually use in your day-to-day life to make the videos, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can sympathize with what you go through, but I don't even know how I would act in that kind of situation.
I wouldn't be able to think of anything. Yeah,
fucking lost it.
My brain would just shut down.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how. I mean, we had, like the GoFundMe was a huge safety net. Like we actually ended up, like, I didn't pull the money out of there for a long time. We were just sort of still living. Because I didn't know what to do. I genuinely did not know what to do. I did not know if I was going to get like screwed on taxes or anything.
It's got to be like conflicting. Like, should I use it?
And I never had anything. Like, I think, the most money I'd ever had in my account was working entirely through college. I think I saved up like $15,000.
Yeah.
And then over the couple of years after college, basically got down to like nothing. And Chelsea had the only job. So like, I wasn't working. She was paying rent. I had like nothing. Yeah. And so all of a sudden it's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I literally don't know what to do. Like, normally I buy groceries and pay gas with my money that I make. I've never had an opportunity to figure something else out.
Yeah. And you mentioned in the video, you felt bad that you'd like have a Tesla or something.
I think there was a joke in one of the early videos where like we did like a special effects of like a cardboard cutout of a Tesla. And
I feel like a lot of YouTubers feel like that. They're like, I don't want people to like think I have money.
Yeah.
Right. And it must be like amplified even more so when people give you that money.
It was bad. People would say really bad things for a while, and it just sort of helped to like feed into the people said stuff immediately. Like a guy that we're still friends with that used to work at Disney invited us to come work at Disney or to come to Disney. It was like totally like out of the blue, like a stranger. And he's like, I work at Disney, I can get you in for free. So we went and visited and he got us in. He used his family passes to get us in and posted a picture on Instagram, and it's like, of course, some of the comments are about
people like, why are you at Disney?
Yeah, it's like, I see you're spending the money well already. It's like,
oh my god! Like, I had money. Money existed before the money you guys gave me. I can spend my money.
It's like you didn't keep all your money under your mattress. Like it was, you have a bank account for a reason.
And it's like I would love to do more stuff. And like we've been trying to do more stuff with money because like I think it's fun to like expand, and I think a lot of people don't understand that running a YouTube channel, like there's two parts of it. You've got kind of the art side of it, and you've got the business side of it.
Absolutely.
And like there's people that work for me. Yeah. Like I've had people working for me for the past 4 years. Like I have to pay them.
Absolutely.
A lot of people forget that now. It's like if you see some big YouTubers, they probably have a team behind them.
Yeah. And like I've gone out of my way. Like we try as hard as we can. So like anybody that works for us has like health insurance.
Yeah.
Like there's plenty.
That's a big thing in the US.
Yeah, I mean, especially when they work for you. They need help.
They need to like double up on health insurance.
So we figured out how to like we have a small company that does brand deals for a lot of science channels, and everybody that works there has health insurance, and like I don't pay for that directly; it just sort of runs itself.
Right.
But that has sort of been like a blessing for everybody, because it kind of helps to like unify us a little bit, so people can't screw us over. And we're doing a bunch of merchandising stuff now, and I have my friend Ian who's working on the channel full time, and it's like these are all people that are working full time. It's like you have to pay them. It's like you gotta
absolutely.
And you're in California, so
it's in California too. So it just can be frustrating sometimes when people say stuff like, oh, like $3,000 a month, and it's like, oh my god, if you could hire somebody for $3,000, like do you know how much money it costs to hire somebody?
If you in California, if you make $3,000 a month, aren't you just maybe getting by? I don't know the immediate. That's not great in California.
Don't. Not in LA.
Can you live off $3,000 a month in LA? Is that possible?
You could do it, yeah, but you'd be like in an apartment with roommates and stuff.
Right. It's like it's in a lot of places that would be a lot.
Yeah,
but in LA and California that is not a lot.
That's not a lot. Especially if your company's not paying you health insurance or anything too, and you have to pay for that on your own. Or if you're like a contractor freelancer, like I work for myself, and it's like, oh yeah, and then you got to pay self-employment tax, and you got to get yourself health insurance. Which
you're from California, right?
Yeah, basically from LA.
So you've just been in California your whole life. There's no party that's like, just get a giant pice of land in Utah.
I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
The problem is like my family lives there. Like, what am I supposed to do?
That's true.
Move your family over as well.
I mean, I live here. My family certainly is not from here.
How often do you see them though? I mean,
not
do you want to see them?
I do. Have you ever seen that? I'm sure you watch Kurzgesagt.
Yes.
Did you watch the video where they talk about how much you'll have seen your family in like your entire lifetime?
Oh yeah.
That shit made me instant depressed.
Really?
It made me feel so bad.
I immediately texted my mom off.
I haven't seen that
in this video, they basically explained that like by age 18, you will have spent like 90% of the time with your family that you will ever.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
And that was such a sobering and depressing thought, but it's true.
Yeah.
And it made me want to really try more, but also being on the other side of the world makes it a lot harder.
What's that flight
Yeah,
back?
Connor just cries a single tear while living in Japan, like halfway across the world from his mum.
I was just like, I did. I was like, Mom, I love you. It's great. You're an amazing parent. You're so good. But I Skype them all the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's better than some. I call my parents at least like 2-3 times a week.
That's good. That's really
I think
good,
that's
actually,
pretty. That's quite a lot compared to what I ask other people. That's just
Yeah.
because they want to. I don't know why. They just want to call me up and talk to me about random shit. I don't know.
Did they like the YouTube stuff?
Yeah, they've really gotten into it recently.
Really?
The first 3-4 years, they were like, we don't get it. And then ever since Trash Taste, and I've
Oh, you make money now. We get it.
yeah. Well, ever since they kind of saw like $10, they were excited.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
thought that was
It
really
was the same
cool.
with my parents. Yeah.
They were like, oh, wait, so you just made $10 from posting a video?
From doing that cringe thing you do in your room.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
loser.
really, honestly,
My
they
loser son.
they were always really supportive, but they didn't really like get it.
Yeah.
And then ever since I kind of made my content more focused around just doing kind of more showing off kind of bizarre sides of Japan, which anyone can watch. You can any age group can watch this and understand what's happening. They watch it a lot more, and they actively tell me about my videos now.
Yeah.
which is kind of good and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
To an extent.
My parents watch Trash Taste every week without
Really?
fail. Yeah, I don't know how they do
So
it.
God's parents are going to know who you are now.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was so weird, fucking going back home these last few months, and then like Friday would come around.
Yeah.
And I'd come downstairs. And I'm like, why do I hear my voice? I'd go into the living room, and they would be watching Trash Taste. I'm like, Mom, Dad, I'm right here. If you want to talk to me in real life.
I would not be able to handle that.
Do they not watch your videos?
My mom does.
Your dad?
My dad. My dad. My mom is like a fan though.
Yeah.
My mom is, what's that meme of like, if William has 1 million fans, I'm one of them.
Yeah.
100,000 fans, so that's my mom.
I'm there in the front row.
That makes sense.
That's so cute.
That's very funny.
I mean, like at this point, because we live halfway across the world, my parents use YouTube as a way to keep up with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
They're like, did Trash Taste upload this weekend? Okay, my son's alive. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's so weird. Like whenever I call my parents and then they bring up something, I'm just like, I
do you
don't
know that?
remember ever talking to you about that. And then they're like, oh yeah, we saw it on Trash Test. I was just like, oh my god, I'm sharing too much.
Yeah. Oh my god, that happens all the time. Like even like people who you sort of casually know or don't know, they'll leave a comment about something, and you're like, where did I say? And they're like, oh my god, it's a podcast. I'm like, oh my god, what am I talking about? Like, oh, people listen to that.
Yeah, I know.
Do your parents watch Safety Third at all?
Oh, what do you think? I don't think so.
Your mom has watched a few.
Okay.
I've taught her how to like listen to it in the background when she.
Okay, that's better.
Right,
No,
okay,
tell her, not to. Definitely.
Please don't.
Yeah, because like I think there was like me before Trash Taste, and then everything I've said after Trash Taste. Sometimes I'd say a story or something in my childhood. My parents would be like, "You motherfucker, why didn't you tell us this
You're
before?"
talking shit about us on your podcast thing.
My dad's done that to me so many times where it's just like, yeah, that thing you said like 4 episodes ago, you're so full of shit. And I'm just like,
I said something in a video where I was like, I made a joke about my childhood that was like sarcastic, and I don't remember what it was. My mom was like, "That's not true," like almost like I was offended, like bad mom. Yeah, I'm like, no, it's just a joke. I don't think most people think it's. I think. Sorry.
oh man.
Yeah, I think especially YouTube videos are much more fun because you can control it. But Trash Taste and podcasts in general, you spew so much things that you don't even remember saying.
I don't know what I've said.
Yeah.
I've said so much stuff.
Yeah. It's just they just come out. The words just come out.
Oh, you have to. You can't do this for like 100 episodes.
No.
I don't remember half the shit I said in this episode.
Yeah.
To be honest.
You were talking about weird stuff.
So I was talking about some weird shit.
Fucked up.
I probably, I'm not even
This
surprised.
podcast is only gonna be 30 minutes long.
Every time I open my mouth, it just cuts to that camera.
So yeah, I mean, you're in Japan, which I guess we should
I had
have
to
mentioned,
be.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're here. So.
Unless people don't know
He's
you're
not
in Japan.
CG.
Well, I wanted to get you on in LA, but then because we had a bunch of other things scheduled and it didn't work out.
that's
Well, then
fine,
you were
yeah.
coming to Japan
Scheduled
anyway,
is
so
absolutely packed.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
We're here because of you guys.
yeah.
Ah.
Well, I didn't do anything.
Well,
Yeah, not us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Directed you towards the
Yeah.
agency.
Yeah.
Well, he was Malin, but it was us. It was us.
We'll take the credit. That's fine.
From when did we meet in LA? When was that?
Well, we met at that party.
June?
In June.
So and we're what, August now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Like 2
from
months.
the
2 months.
middle of June to the middle of August, so like Literally, it was like,
Pretty crazy.
Japan, okay. And then 2 months later, we're in Japan.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like sometimes you meet YouTubers and you're like, oh, you're like a normal dude who just also makes YouTube videos and you get along really well. And I was like, oh yeah, you should definitely come again.
Yeah.
Like,
They're a rare breed.
Well, a lot of time you sometimes meet people, you're like, oh my God, you are a lot. Okay,
There's a lot of those.
I was surprised that you decided to come to Japan this quickly, because mostly you meet someone and you're like, oh, do you want to come here to this place? And I'm like, yeah, one day. And then like 2 years passes and then you get the message. But you guys was just like, fucking
I love to just be impulsive with stuff like this.
Right.
Where it's like everything lines up, it makes sense, let's do it. Like don't and like there's enough help now. It's like I'm a very one-track mind. And I don't know if everybody else is like that or if it's just me, but it's like if I have to start trying to do too many things at the same time, everything falls apart. Like I get nothing done. So being able to have people that help organize stuff, just like, okay, what do you think about Japan? And they're like, okay, and then they just start working on it. It's like,
Oh my God.
it's really, really, really.
So you came for the first time in 2019?
Yeah.
And you just loved it?
Yeah, this place is amazing. Honestly, I think if anybody has any intention of ever coming to Japan, you have to do it. It has to be on your bucket list. You have to come to Japan. Figure out how to make it work.
What's so good about it? You tell me.
Sell it to us.
I think that
sell Japan to us.
Tokyo is everything every major city wishes it was.
Right.
If that makes
Yeah.
You're like, right?
Yeah, right. Am I right?
It is like America, but Disneyland mixed in the same thing, where it's like a city that I'm familiar enough with because it's like a lot of everything is like English or like, uses our alphabet so that you can read it and decipher it. But it's like clean and convenient and predictable. Like it's bizarre because it's like Los Angeles is a nightmare. And this is great.
Traffic isn't too bad.
Right. It's
Public
like,
transport system as well.
we have yet to run into any issues with public transport. Like we're not, maybe we're just avoiding rush hour and whatnot, but like you show up and
but
the train just
during rush hour, it somehow works. You just have to deal with the crowd, but like,
It's just cramped.
It's just cramped, but everything's still on time somehow.
I just like when we normally back home, like I don't drink at all when we go out because I'm driving.
Yeah,
And here
exactly.
it's like, oh, we're not.
Yeah, I've never
I drink every day.
Yeah, a beer, 2 beers.
Well, that was
maybe
one thing.
3 beers.
That was one thing. As someone who grew up in England, I could never understand about American culture, which is this culture of having a designated driver. Because I'm like, damn, imagine if you have to go out and one of you just has to like commit to not having fun. Like I couldn't. I just wouldn't go out.
Yeah.
like even if there's just that one time.
Yeah.
And if you like rotate it.
Because in Australia, it's not who's the designated driver; it's who's the least drunk here.
America kind of the same way.
It's illegal, Joey.
Yeah, I know. Well, everyone's doing it. Come on.
We do not.
It's in the past.
We do not condone that at all.
I've never done that.
Disclaimer
What?
trash.
Oh no, I've never done that.
Oh, okay.
None of us have ever done that.
Australia is a very interesting place. It's
You should come to Australia.
kind of like white trash America, but also at the same time, it's like way more together.
Hold on, pause. What did you say? Australia is like white trash
White
America?
trash America, yeah.
I think it's right.
What the fuck?
But it's not.
antagonized.
It's. I mean, I don't mean that wholeheartedly.
I hope not.
But I still stand by it. Like, there's something a little bit crazier. About
Wait, have you been to Australia?
Yeah, once.
Whereabouts were you?
Melbourne.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's something about
Someone
Australia.
from Sydney, I totally get you.
Wait.
Makes perfect sense.
Maybe I should also. I'm gonna add a loophole. It could have also been the people that I was hanging out with.
Yeah, it might have been.
Well, I guess there is a lot of crazy shit that happens in Australia.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah,
and we've
not
talked about this
denying
before.
that.
Like Australia is like the Florida of the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. No, okay. I get it in that sense. Yes, definitely.
What's the difference between Florida and white trash?
Shit, you got me there, bro.
Poor Florida getting dragged again.
In Florida, they like it.
They like no.
They thrive off that.
Good Floridian.
Drag me faster. There's something in the water in Florida.
There's something in the water in Australia as well.
Yeah, this place. I like Japan a lot.
Yeah.
I like Australia too. It was either we were going to go back to Australia or come to Japan.
It's nice going to Australia or the UK or America after being here for too long because after a while you kind of get bogged down by all the rules and all the things you have to follow. You're like, okay, I just want to go somewhere where when there's a problem, that people figure it out. Not people don't start freaking out and going, what do we do? What do we do? This guy said he wants to tip us.
Right.
Freaking out.
Yeah, I mean it's weird because I think visiting Japan is I honestly do think Japan is one of the best countries to visit in the world. If you want to live here, there's other things you have to keep in mind. It's still an amazing country to live in, but it's a very different experience when coming to visit here.
Perfect.
Yeah, no country's perfect. And definitely after being stuck in here for COVID, I did miss a lot of, let's say, like the chiller aspects of other countries.
More chaotic.
When it comes to just attitude in general.
Yeah.
I think attitude's a big thing where sometimes you just want to go to a place or, work somewhere where you don't have to worry about getting approval or just, should I be worried about doing this very specific thing,
very specific thing with little to no consequences, but they make it seem like there's a whole heap of consequences.
I am totally fine following the rules if they make sense.
And if they don't make sense,
Then I lose my mind.
Welcome to Japan, buddy.
that's the American in you talking.
I mean, a lot of America has stuff that doesn't make sense too.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
ever learned about like the drug classifications, like the drug scaling?
No.
I think the UK actually follows similarly to
Marijuana is classified worse than methamphetamine.
Wait, what?
What?
So we in the UK, I think we have like A, B,
Yeah,
and C.
so marijuana is a
I'm gonna
class
double
C
check that.
drug.
Yeah, are you an expert in this?
Well, I mean, we've talked about it before.
I mean, as you know, drug experts here,
Yeah, of course.
resident drug expert.
Yeah. But yeah, I believe in the UK, marijuana is a class C drug.
Yeah.
Cocaine and ecstasy and all those are like class A drugs. I've never heard of what a class B drug is.
So Schedule 1,
Speed?
Schedule 1 is marijuana, heroin, LSD, ecstasy, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, nowhere in these are like nicotine alcohol or anything like that.
Right.
And so it's like, to me, that's one of those rules where it's like, from a scientific standpoint, like there's definitely like no science has been done.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
if you
of course.
want to
Well,
have
'cause it's just
rules,
government, like,
right,
it's
exactly,
just arbitrary.
right, and so it's like be concise and be like realistic with the rules. Don't just make shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
makes
that's
sense.
that could apply to a lot of things though.
Right? Yeah.
Like some things I feel like just have to do with like the PR or the, let's say, the public perception of them.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue Japan does that, but in the opposite end when it comes to things like marijuana. They just think like, oh, all drugs are just as bad as each other. So marijuana is just as bad as heroin and meth and all
Japan is
those.
surprisingly lax in some places though. But I think it's because they haven't ever had like big disasters or anything. So there's some rules where you're like, that's weirdly okay. You guys
Like
seem
what?
weirdly okay with it. There's a few. I had some things in mind. I forgot. But like, the fact that you can drink alcohol in a lot of places that you normally think that other countries would be like, maybe don't. Like you can openly drink alcohol, no problem.
Right.
The culture around alcohol here is really.
Can you drink alcohol in public?
Yes.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
can drink alcohol on the train. You can drink alcohol on a bus. You
That's
can walk
amazing.
around. Take a
Yeah.
can,
But I
crack
tell
it
you
open.
what you can't do in public.
Okay.
Smoke cigarettes. You can smoke cigarettes inside in a restaurant, in certain restaurants.
Or in designated smoking areas outside.
you're not
you
allowed-
can't smoke and walk.
you can't smoke outside on the streets.
Where are you supposed to? That seems like the only place you would go to smoke.
Welcome to Japan.
Also, when you get a domestic flight, you don't need to show ID at any point.
That's cool.
You just walk on the plane.
Yep.
It's a
I
domestic
mean,
flight,
that I get because it's
but America, that's not how it is.
I know.
America,
Oh,
they
wow.
still their
That's how they
whole
got.
hand
They
up.
got 9/11 though. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude,
it-
oh
it-
man,
it
do you know how much
makes
money they
sense.
spend every single year? I looked this up. Also,
On
I'm like
what?
90% certain after 9/11 on
Oh,
TSA
okay.
and everything.
Right.
They spend more money every single year than it costs to build the towers.
they're not very good.
Wow.
Wow.
I had this horrible thought experiment. I don't know if Alan used this at all, but the idea was, would you rather, when something bad does happen, you pay out the families all that money and not spend it on the TSA?
Oh, that's.
This is the trolley argument, just framed differently. I swear to God.
I don't know.
I had like a really fucking scary encounter when I was in. Well, it wasn't scary. It was just we were in LAX.
Yeah.
And because I have my bag, right, which
do.
has every single wire and battery and
Oh,
camera.
yeah.
So
Oh,
it
yeah.
always gets flagged.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
single
They
time.
hate my bags.
They
too.
they stop it every time. They make me open it up. They make me fucking, and it's a mess. So it doesn't look good. It's not neat. Pull out batteries, wires, camera. And it's always a thing, and I'm used to it happening every single time.
Yeah.
So I see my bag go in, because it goes down, then it can get like shuttled to the side to go down.
Yes. Oh yeah. When you see it pop out the side, it's like,
oh fuck! I gotta
It's like,
talk
I'm
to
getting
someone. And so I'm waiting, and then as I'm like seeing just my bag go down this other thing, I'm like, fuck's sake! I got a tap on the shoulder, and I turn around, and it's TSA. And there's this guy.
Big dude.
There's like a smaller guy and there's a bigger guy behind him. And he's like, are you Connor? And I'm like, yeah. What's wrong? He's like, and there's a really long pause. And he's like, I love Trash Taste, by the way. I was like, I smacked this. I was like, don't fucking scare me like that, man.
Also, you're under arrest.
Yeah. And he's like, we're gonna kill you.
Dude, that's
It was so funny because I was
like, God damn it, man.
I was on because this was on the flight to Miami, right?
No, Australia.
Oh, to Australia.
We'd flown from Miami to LA to get our flight to Australia.
Yeah, that's right. And I had already like gone off because I got all of my shit. And so from the distance, I just saw Connor getting surrounded by TSA, shitting his pants.
Do they have any idea that that's terrifying?
Oh,
I think they knew.
He definitely was playing it up for sure.
That kind of sucks though. Like a lot.
It scared the shit out of me because I turned around, there was dudes just looking at me and like menacingly and knew my name.
Oh, they absolutely know how much power they have.
Yeah,
Traveling in an airport's already like a really bad experience.
Yeah. Oh man, traveling to the US, it's like there is no country that is more intimidating to get into than the US.
Is it?
Yeah.
Holy, I've never felt like
Do they interrogate you?
more than any other country.
interrogated
They've interrogated. Well, he's been deported before.
I've been deported before, yeah.
Wait, how?
From the US.
Because I was on an ESTA and then I apparently broke some rules that didn't comply with the ESTA that I didn't know about. And apparently that happens
Smuggling drugs.
apparently cocaine is just not allowed. No, but like I basically just broke a
5
very
kilos of cocaine.
I was like, oh fuck, 6 is too much.
What's the difference?
Yeah. So like I basically, long story short is there's like a lot of very minor rules about the ESTA, the electronic visa thing, that is not, very concisely written down.
Yeah. No.
And I unfortunately broke one of those rules and the guy was like, well, it's all right because you didn't know about it and this happens all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So,
was the rule?
but we have to deport you.
Oh my god.
And so I was like, oh, okay. Well, my girlfriend's already gone through.
It's not a big deal. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Does not get followed up by we have to deport you.
That's literally how they phrased it. They were like, don't worry, man, it happens all the time. But you have a choice. You can either stay in a jail overnight until we can get your flight the next day, or you can take this other flight that takes you to Amsterdam instead, and then you have to get a connecting flight back to Japan. What would you like to do? And all I could hear was like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music, just like dun 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 dun. And I'm just like,
One of your lifelines.
yeah. I was like, it's like, can I phone a friend? Like, so I was just like, well, I'm not fucking staying in a jail overnight. So Amsterdam, please.
Every time I go to the border in America, I feel like a school kid, like who's about
Getting
to
in trouble.
You're getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And like you go to them, and I feel like a school kid, and the teacher's like scolding me. It's like, why? What are you doing here? How long are you here? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why, but I always just feel like I needed to apologize, even if I have all the documentation, even though I'm not doing anything wrong. I always feel like, oh, sorry.
Sometimes you just, I don't know. I mean, like a lot of the times it's been chill, but sometimes you just get that one dude who you can tell. He just wants to.
He's just having a shit day.
He sees you and he's like,
yeah. Like, asking questions where you're like, why would you ask that question in that way? Like you're trying.
shit this morning.
Yeah. Not even. I wish it was that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
How heavy was it?
I don't know. Dumb shit.
It's because all the border police I've met in America, even if they're the most chillest person in the world, all of them are able to project this authority in their voice that I've just seen like that is on another level compared to like most other countries I've been to. It's like, and
it's also I feel like they have this switch in emotion the moment they deem you to be okay. Yeah. Because it's like every time you walk up, it's always like they've got like some kind of sourpuss, like resting bitch face, just like really mean about it. And then the moment they stamp your thing, it's just like,
oh, you're one
have
of the
a good
ones.
day.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. I'll allow it.
Thank you.
It's like, oh, thank God. Thank you.
When I was a kid, because my mom wasn't a citizen, she's from Sweden.
Okay.
And so she had a green card. We were coming back from Mexico, and I guess she had left her green card at home.
Shit.
And so we had to basically sit there and argue with immigration. And they're like, well, for $300 or whatever, it was some stupid fee that, years ago would have been more than what that is now. We can do it for you and figure it out electronically. Or you can go and get your green card. And so basically she stayed at LAX. And my dad drove me and my sister home, and we must have been like maybe 12.
Yeah.
So we're like, pretty young.
Yeah.
He drops us off at home and then drives like probably an hour and a half back to LAX.
Holy fuck.
And this is like, I remember probably landing, it was dark outside, so maybe like 10, 11, it was like super late, so he probably got home at like 4 in the morning after dealing with it. And they knew who she was, they had everything there, but it was just like, in order to come through without the card, you gotta pay like $300-$400.
Even though on their system, they can clearly see that she has a green card.
Yeah.
Because it would match up with the passport.
That's so shit. So shit.
That shit's annoying.
Just like, but I've never had a bad experience.
Yeah.
With any airport security in any country?
Honestly, not really.
That's good.
Yeah, you're
I
lucky.
haven't either. It's been chill.
I think coming back from Canada is probably the most aggressively I've gotten grilled, but that was driving.
Oh.
They ask you what you're doing there and whatnot, but otherwise, like, I don't think that anyone's super. I can't remember.
Damn.
Yeah, have you? I think I've been like interrogated a few times. Both those times in America.
Actually, it's looking pretty bad. I mean, we're both white. We're like, no bad.
I love the TSA.
This is not a great look.
My brothers.
That's privilege.
They're like, Joe, how white did you say you were again?
Yeah. You don't look very white.
So your name is Joseph. Okay, you're good. I see your name is Gant Manitapa.
Red.
Okay.
Too many letters.
Why'd you have a British passport?
I brought some stuff through that they really don't like too. Like one time we had a suitcase filled entirely with Magic the Gathering cards.
Yeah.
They hated that.
Wait, what do you mean? Why?
I don't know. I guess it's just too dense for the X-rays to penetrate, and so it just shows up as like this brick, a solid black brick.
Wait. Okay, hold on. I gotta know. Why are you bringing in a suitcase full of Magic the Gathering cards?
I don't know, because we didn't use them at all and had to drag it all the way back home.
And so you put it through customs, and they're like, "Hold up, what is that?"
What are these white bricks that
They
are showing
open
up?
it, and then of course, like it's literally filled with cards, and it's like, how do you dig through a box of cards that have been like meticulously placed in there? So the guy was just, you can just see them die on the inside, because you're sitting there looking at them, and they know they're not gonna be able to put it back together.
Yeah.
And so he just sort of like picks up a couple of them, and I think he gets the vibe that like
They're just cards.
it's just cards.
Yeah.
And so he let us go. But tools, they hate tools too. We had to throw. I think we were in Texas, and I had to buy a drill and some drill bits and stuff. And
You can't take a drill. in the
take a
luggage?
drill. No, you can't take a drill. You can't take anything. The bits, I understand. He's like, throw the drill bits away, but he wouldn't let me take the drill. And so
You're gonna tilt the battery out?
yeah. So he's like, you have to check it, and I'm like, nope, throw it in the trash. And he was like confused. And I'm like, nope, throw it in the trash. Is there anything else in my bag you want me to throw in the trash? Like, if there's anything in my bag you'd like to throw in the trash, now's the chance to do it. I think he started getting really uncomfortable because I was just like basically, giving him the authority to throw anything away that he didn't like. Because it's like, screw you, man.
Yeah.
I just paid $80 for this drill. I don't want to throw it away.
Oh shit! You sassed the guy?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
I sassed him in a way where I gave him like too much authority. Where I'm literally just like,
Too
if there's
scared to
anything
sass
in my
people
bag
like
you
that.
want to throw away, do it right now.
I'm too scared to sass people.
Yeah, I
like
feel
that.
like
I'm
the moment I
yes,
do that, I'm
yes.
getting arrested.
Well, I wasn't arguing with him. I wasn't saying no, don't take my drill. It was just like, anything else you want to throw away?
No, but it's the passive aggressiveness I could not do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not hindering him.
You're a bolder man than me.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm just getting flashbacks of something that happened when I was like a fucking teenager. So,
All right.
What did you try
it
bringing?
wasn't actually to do with me, but this is probably like one of the most British stories I've ever seen happen in an airport. So I was visiting Spain with some mates, and we were in the south of Spain, normal kind of British holiday. And so we are on our way to fly back, and we see that there's another British guy in front of us that has been basically stopped at the security gate because
In Spain or in...
yeah, in Spain.
Okay.
In Spain. So, because it was found that he had a liter bottle of vodka. That obviously you can't take liquids on the plane. He had a liter bottle of vodka that he tried to pass through security, and so security told him to get rid of the bottle, right? And they give him the bin, and he goes, "No, I'm going to choose the second option." So what he does is he in line, he starts fucking chugging this liter bottle of vodka, and he's like, "No, I refuse to throw this away. Fuck you."
Did they just kick him off the flight?
Huh?
They just kick him off the flight.
I don't know, because the only reason I know this because I see him chugging this bottle, and everyone that he goes past, he offers a swig to.
It's like, bro, help me out.
Depending on what mood I was in, I would potentially.
And I'm like, this is the most British thing I've ever seen. Someone who's just refusing to throw away this liter bottle of vodka and just decides to chug it before security.
I definitely think he could have lingered for a while, and like you're forgetting the other option, and like you make them say it.
You can tell me to drink it.
Look me in the eyes and tell me that I am allowed to drink it.
The only weirdest thing that I've ever had at an airport or on a plane was that I was on a plane from Amsterdam to London, and as the plane landed, there was like an announcement where they were like, "Hey, so somebody was smoking in the toilet, so the police are gonna come on and take the person off, and then that's gonna be it." So we're literally waiting. 2 dudes come on, go to the back, pick this guy up, take him off, and it was like, oh, I didn't even know. That was weird.
They just.
Yeah, police came on, took him off. I don't know what happens when you do it. I assume they
probably a fine.
Take him down the base. Don't smoke ever again.
I'll have you from Amsterdam of all places. God damn it.
There's no way they don't detect that. They would 100%. If you do anything there, they're gonna know.
What was the guy thinking? He's like, I can just guide the smoke away from it. Like
the thing that blew my mind is that flight is an hour and 20 minutes.
You couldn't hold it?
It's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, an hour and 20 minutes, you can't hold it or like wait. Like I'd have a little bit more sympathy if it was 16 hours and I'm like, all right, you're a complete crippling at smoking
like
addict.
You're going to Amsterdam. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah, right.
You're gonna smoke. You can do it there.
I didn't understand it, and like during the flight after I heard that, I was like, I did smell smoke at one point, but I just thought I was going crazy.
I thought I was just having a stroke.
I thought I was like, I'm going crazy.
Yeah. Because when you always hear the safety instructions of like don't smoke in the toilets because it's a federal offense. It's like you don't have to tell me that. No one's stupid enough to do that.
There's an ashtray in the toilet for a reason. People smoke. It's
probably better than throwing it in the trash.
Yeah, you can't because they want, if people are going to smoke, they want them to put it out in the ashtray, as opposed to throwing it in the trash and lighting it on fire.
Right.
Because it's literally just tissues.
Right.
Yeah. True.
So that's the reason why they have ashtrays on every plane. And
is that true?
Why do you think there's an ashtray on every toilet?
I don't know.
It's just to keep people from throwing it in the trash.
Yeah, because if they would have tried and put it out in the trash, the last thing you want is a bigger fire.
Yeah.
So if you're going to smoke on the plane, at least for God's sake, put it out.
Yeah.
In the
right way.
Yeah. Like, can we fact check this?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is why.
I definitely believe it.
So
like you almost,
if
they're going to do something bad, so you give them the best way to do it bad.
Yeah.
Because
if people are going to break the rules, at least let them break the rules in a safe way and then punish them.
Because I've never really thought about it, but I've always seen the ashtray, and I've always seen people say, "Please don't smoke on the on the plane." So I was like, was there an era I wasn't alive where they were just allowed to smoke on the planes? That's like how I've rationalized it in my mind.
Yeah, they were. Okay. You were allowed. Yeah.
You do crazy shit.
What's the verdict?
Yeah, it's correct.
Yeah.
By the Federal Aviation Administration.
Yeah, my dad used to work for Airbus.
Really?
Project manage putting the wings together, and he told me about it, and I was like, that sounds wrong. Is that right?
So you can smoke?
No,
you can't, right?
No, you're not allowed to. But if you, it's like,
but if you do, at least there's an ashtray.
It's like a clean needle program. It's like they're gonna do drugs,
right?
So at least do it with a clean needle.
A safe way.
Like, that's why they're like, don't. There's a lot of things that you design where people are going to break the rules. There's no way you can stop it. So at least do it so it doesn't fuck everyone else over.
So why is there not like a pack of condoms for anyone who wants to go to Mile High
Because
Club?
if someone gets chlamydia on the plane, it doesn't affect you.
You're not gonna hear an announcement being like,
oxygen masks will be dropping from the ceiling.
I'm just saying, if people are gonna do it,
because if someone makes a fire on a plane, everyone dies, right? If someone gets hepatitis,
2 people die.
Syphilis, that's on that.
You're not going to hear an announcement be like, so someone in the back has crabs now for some reason. 2 security guards going to come and take him away.
Jerry just got syphilis, and he's going to die, and that doesn't leave. Like, that's a terrible equivalency.
I think the worst thing I ever saw on a flight, and it's not even that bad, was right as a plane was landing, this woman who didn't speak English gets up out of her seat to go use the bathroom, and they started freaking out. Like I think they were like inches away from aborting the landing, right? But they realized that pretty much no matter what they did was going to be like the most dangerous thing for that situation. Yeah. So they were screaming. They were like, "Do not like leave. Like stay in the bathroom. Stay seated." Literally the plane's like coming in for its landing, and this woman gets up and goes to the bathroom.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just got to the plane.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I don't think you get arrested or fined for that, but I think
I think you can though.
You can get fined for it,
I think you
probably.
can get fined for that. I'm pretty sure, like if you're doing shit like that and landing, it's
putting everybody else in danger indirectly.
Yeah.
Because if they like have to abort or they make a,
you're costing tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or if they get someone injured from falling over and
Yeah.
fucking smacking their head on something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a liability. Yeah.
We're allowed to land. It's like, bet. Oh, are we? I don't think so.
I don't think I've ever seen anything that crazy on a flight before.
That's pretty
I'm a little
crazy.
jealous.
I'm kind of crazy. I sometimes leave my cell phone signal on. I can,
Sometimes after they leave before landing, I put my seat back. Put my tray table down so that
I hate you so much, William. Fuck you. I hate it when people do that to me.
I'm gonna relax on the seat.
Yeah, just as we're about to land, I put my tray table down.
I closed the window blind.
I closed the window. I was like, I don't want to see the plane land.
What are you gonna
If we
do?
do crash, I get cut in half.
Sometimes I open the ejector window after we've landed. Just because I mean we're getting out anyway. Like,
I need some fresh air. You know?
What is that? That lands you what? Like $25,000 fine and like actual jail time if you do
I think
that?
it's jail
Yeah.
time with that one.
That's jail
I think
time.
it depends on the country.
Okay.
Hey, video idea. Is that a tax write-off? You get a fine with the intent of getting a fine for a video idea. Is that a tax write-off?
That I
don't think so,
No
right?
idea. I have no idea.
No one's put that to the test yet.
I don't like this.
Why not?
I shouldn't have given you that idea, actually.
I don't know if you get a DUI and you're filming it. Is that a write-off?
Laws don't exist if you're filming it, right?
Yeah.
We don't know this. That's why.
Well, it's like
I mean, like, please, Mr. Accountant.
I've always been
Well,
interested.
TikTok exists, right?
I've always been interested, not personally, but it's like scientifically, the whole how much alcohol can you drink and then drive thing.
Yeah.
Like, because it's based on the
Drive or drive legally?
drive legally.
Okay.
Obviously not. That's a fact. Thank you for giving me that distinction. Because obviously it's like a generic. They're like, yeah, you can only drink 2.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
what they tell everyone. But obviously, if you're a really
It's
big guy,
probably
it's
like
like you can
double.
drink a lot more than that. Right? I've always wondered because of how it works. You could easily drink if you were a giant guy, very big.
Yeah.
You could drink 4 beers, drive, and then
Yeah.
you would still come up as legal to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't
Which is a
condone
funny
any of
thought.
this behavior.
No,
by
I'm
the
just
way.
thinking like
And nor we're saying
It's a hypothetical.
Nor are we saying anyone should test it out.
Well,
either.
yeah. It's like what you mentioned, like it has been arbitrarily set at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roughly. They think that is
Yeah, that's the average.
right.
Well,
on
the
average,
percentage
yeah.
is what, like 0.08%?
I don't know.
0.8%,
I've never.
0.08%?
Well, in
had a
Japan,
drink
it's 0.
ever.
0%. Holy
Yeah.
shit. That's like
Nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
It feels like kind of actually almost like false positives would come out of that.
Maybe. I don't know. I never thought about it.
I've never driven and had a drink at any point. So.
Because like you could have a drink and then like hours later, like 3 hours later,
yeah.
potentially still have something.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think like there was a massive problem where in the UK where people would go on like an all-night bender and then drive to work the next day and they were still drunk, they were still over the limit in the morning because they'd drunken so much the night before.
Right. And late into the night as
Yeah,
well.
late into the night as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like your brain says, oh, I sleep, therefore I'm sober now.
It's a really
But-
good way of avoiding that. It's just don't drink absurd amount of alcohol before work. I mean, I feel like that's generally the life.
I think that's good advice regardless of if you're driving or not.
that's a simple life hack.
You know, maybe don't.
That's a bit too smart. Colin.
That's why I like the city though, because it's like you don't have to think about it here. You just get on the freaking train.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing though in Japan is that everyone goes out and gets drunk on weekdays and then goes to work.
Yeah.
So
I respect the hustle.
well, yeah, I think you're just participating in the culture.
Yeah.
that we're doing
Yeah.
right now.
I'm
exactly.
being an honorary Japanese citizen.
Oh my god. Well, I think that about does it for this episode. Do you want to shout anything out? YouTube channel, TikTok.
Turtles.
Shout out to turtles all over the world who are watching
If you're a
Trash
turtle
Taste.
out there, you're awesome.
Have you ever wanted to eat a giant tortoise? I heard they're delicious.
I think that that would feel bad. Why do they do that here?
No.
No, that's just what he
Well,
wants
some
to do.
places eat turtles
it's-
here.
it's-
Not giant tortoises.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Those are like old.
Yeah, but they're really tasty.
I have one as a pet.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Oh, that's
not-
why.
Okay, yeah, maybe, yeah.
Versus tortoise
Do
shell.
you want to eat my tortoise?
If it was prepared.
Well, if you're done with it,
This is some like
Let's-
South Park skit.
yeah.
It's like eat the tortoise, Connor.
As long as it's aged like 100, 200 years. That's
Yeah.
right.
Naturally aged.
that's some aged
Live
meat right there.
age. This is a live age tortoise.
You eat 20-day aged steak? No, I eat 100 year aged tortoise.
Thank you so much for watching Trash Taste.
Hey, look at all these patrons though who support the show. Oh my god,
That's a lot. How do you guys get so many of those?
I don't know, to be honest. Who's your favorite? I like this guy.
Yeah.
Pick a guy.
I hate this
That
one.
guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
I changed my
favorite.
mind. I like them.
Okay, I was going to
But
say,
this
I like
guy
that
over
one.
here.
He's been causing problems.
Yeah.
Hey, if you like to support the show, then head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/trashtaste. Also follow us on Twitter, send us some memes on the subreddit, and if you hate our face, listen to us on Spotify, and go obviously check out the links in the description below.
Yeah.
God, you said that really fast.
I know, I've done many episodes now.
He's the pro. If he's like off for 1 week, I don't know what I would do. I'd be like, oh,
goodbye.
what Joey normally says, bye.
We just end ours. We literally just say like, what does it just end and then it cuts?
Okay, we should just do that.
We should just do that.